people joining into the national anthem.
And they certainly enjoyed it too, Kimbo, and best of luck to both sides.
Yes, fair comment. Well, it's time to get the game underway. Our special comments, gentlemen, today will be Neville Roberts, former West Torrens, Richmond and Norwood champion, and to pick up the call of the game is the doyen of commentators, former South Adelaide Rover, Ian Day.
Thank you, Kim. Good afternoon, everybody. Grand final day in Adelaide, 1992. A huge crowd, standing room only, although at the back of the, I thought it was supposed to be a standing room only, at the back of the goalpost there's quite a few seats vacant, which is unusual, Neville, but I thought they were all sold out.
Well, only a few seats left, Ian, and it's a pretty good crowd, in excess of 40,000 at least here at Football Park today.
Since 1969, since Glenelg became a power, they've played in 13 grand finals. They've won 3 and lost 10. And Port Adelaide, in their last 8 grand final appearances, have won 7 and lost 1. So there is maybe an omen. Is it the last man for the Port Adelaide captain, Man Mountain, Greg Phillips?
Well, a lot of people say you'll be able to exploit his age and legs, but I can tell you one thing about Greg Phillips. He's never where the ball ain't. He reads it beautifully. He won't go on a decoy. And talking about older players, Scott Salisbury, in vision now, his last game today, and he is the toughest player in South Australian football currently.
The breeze is blowing left to right. Scotty Salisbury's won the toss, kicking towards the golf course end. The flags are a flutter, although it didn't prove that in the reserves grand final. They scored quite easily at the lake end, so hopefully the wind won't play a big factor in this afternoon's result. Umpire Kevin Chambers in his first game, or first grand final, about to get it underway. Umpire Kevin Chambers holds the ball aloft to get the 1992 grand final underway. Down it goes in front of a crowd of 40,000 people plus. Christie against Chalmers. In there quickly is Buckley now. Thumps it out towards Hutton. Centre wing. Port Adelaide to go into attack now to the lake end. Getting back on a top mark taken by Robbie Thompson.
And a great start by the Magpies. There was 3 or 4 around that ball then when they took it forward through Hutton.
Kick up towards the half-back line. Fine mark Murphy. Murphy now from centre wing to send the Bays into attack. Fidges leading towards the pocket. There's 2 on 1 back there. Chalmers has dropped back in tandem with Delaney. Murphy puts it up high. Chalmers is going to get the leap, can't bring it down. Mansell through. Hallahan. Bow jams it onto his foot. The umpire's seen a free kick. Umpire Michael Abbott, and the free kick would go the way of Glenelg's Lyndon Bow. Now, wind assisted, he could almost make the distance, although he's 55 metres out. He's in Campbell's pocket, which is not an easy one. The graveyard of full forwards should take the left goalpost. Kick is going to be marginally short. Fidges sandwiched between 2. Mansell had a big swing. Oh, he's got it! Oh, he had an airy, then he butted up again, and the Bays are on the board.
Well, 2 attempts, and probably shouldn't have had that much time, but finally asking there with his hands whether he wants to change or stay on the ball, and got the message that there'd be a switch there. That's what he was saying. Have a look at it. 1 again, stayed with him. A little bit of fortune there for Mansell, but he made his own luck, and that is a dream start for Kim Hodgman, a dream start for the Tigers. Only a minute into the game and they've scored.
Back centre field, Glenelg 1 goal. Port Adelaide yet to get on the board as Christie gets the tap down. It's a good hit. It goes out towards Rubenek. He's dispossessed. Strong tackle there by Marshall. In there working hard is Williams, but it's a dead heat situation. And umpire Kevin Chambers will bounce very close to that centre circle once more. He's officiating with Michael Abbott this afternoon. Great atmosphere here at Football Park. You're on Nine's Wide World of Sports as the ball socket off the ground. Out to Chig Whitten. Chiggy jams it on the boot. Fidges there. Delaney wins that battle. The ball goes down towards Jennifer. Rowan Smith playing on the wing. Gets it out to Razonico. Puts it up high. The breeze says thanks very much and nearly pushes it back the other way as Foster stands his ground, as you should in a grand final, and takes a good mark. The handball to Jennifer. He'll have to be quick. He finds Chalmers, who's dispossessed by Christie. Play on the call. Jamo went off the ground. Not effective. Jennifer takes it. He's a bustling, hard-working player. He puts it out to Delaney. Fiachi, there's that combination. We'll see that again today. Over to Buckley, the McGarry medalist. Gets a handball. In turn, it goes to Foster. Back to Jennifer. Back to Foster. Too slow. Great tackle, Mansell. Oh, there's some desperation early.
And the only contentious point about this grand final from Glenelg's point of view, in my opinion, was their ability to match Port physically for 4 of the 4 quarters, and that will be the real test for them. They've started brilliantly, Ian.
More than half the players are in screen. The tension's on. Thompson gets a wild kick, but it finds Rubenek, who's preferred to Mark Russell in the team. Chips it out now to Jamison, or maybe he was the player that was preferred to Mark Russell. Certainly the player that's coming in gives Chigwidden the run. On the outer side, Foster won't get there, gets a good set. Fidge on the lead, short, won't quite get there. The kick was never on line, and it goes out of bounds in the full forward left pocket with the Bays in attack. The Bays by 6 points. Huge crowd here at Football Park. 40,000 plus at the throw in, about 35 metres around. Chalmers, Murphy will go with him. Murphy, Chalmers, Foster. Couldn't get rid of it. Chigwidden gets it back. Hallahan puts it in towards Fidge, but this time it's Delaney in front, and he takes the defensive mark.
It's 2 out of 2 to Delaney, but that may come unstuck. That was an awful kick, and it is very rare we'll see Delaney make a mistake like that.
Well, they always like to switch the play, and that's exactly what Fiacci was trying to do, but into the breeze, rushing your kick. Gee, a bad mistake by Delaney. He has one, Mansell Kim, and he's well within distance here.
Tough pocket, really shouldn't be a problem. And it's... gee, did that swing away? That's a point. And that just goes to show how strong that breeze is down the southern end. You really do have to take the left goalpost.
Well, in fact, I saw Clayton Lamb lining up before the game, and he was aiming to that far left point post, Kim, and he was kicking goals.
Delaney looks for Buckley. Bow in. Christie towards the line. The ball is out of play. Turf looks in magnificent condition. Pretty warm for the players, 23, 24 degrees. Could find them out towards the end. We haven't had that sort of temperature for a while. Phillips lets Hutton go for it. Mansell in the action again. Geez, had a good first quarter. Hallahan, standing start, drives up towards the half-forward line. Fiacci can't find it. Chigwidden went in and out. In goes Fidge for the Shepherd. Fiacci around the corner, but Delaney's there, read it beautifully, and he'll bolt down the outer side. There's Smith against Rubenek on the far side. 1-on-1. Buckley wants it in if they can get it. If Smith can win the football, Buckley's 20 metres on his own. He won't, however, he's still working hard for the football. Delaney might give it to him. He'll come in board, intercepted Hallahan.
2 mistakes to Delaney, and you won't see that very often. Plenty of pressure, and there's almost a brawl in the square between Foster and Fidge.
Yes, a little bit of byplay there, but the grab's been taken by Captain Courageous Scooter Salisbury in his last league game of football. Let's have a look how it happened.
Good work by Salisbury on that occasion as the ball came in, but there was a lot of tension in the square. Foster went back to pick up Fidge as Delaney was down the ground.
The Tigers need a captain's goal. Has he let them down? I don't think he has. He's banged it through.
And using the breeze properly, the Bays at the moment, and when you've got a breeze of this nature, it's almost better to ignore it and to treat it like it's not there. Still kick the position, still keep the same game plan, and don't look for the extra distance. On that occasion, they played it in beautifully to Salisbury. He's an experienced player. He would dream about getting those sorts of opportunities in the first 5 minutes of a league grand final. Did it beautifully to score his first.
2-1 to nothing. The Bays start well. Ball A's through, can't get it. Socket off the ground to the outer side. Once again, 1-on-1. Smith and Rubenek. Smith in front, needs support. Foster's out there, with him is Mackay, and the ball goes out of play at centre wing on the outer side. Throw in. Solid breeze. The Bays would want 3 or 4 at quarter time. They desperately want to beat Port Adelaide in a final. Not often they do that, if ever. Long kick by Mansell, in towards down the forward pocket. Fidge comes to meet it. Fidge has got it, slips it back to Salisbury, but the handball was not good, and he thumped it straight out of play for a throw-in.
And there's not many changes on the ground. It's pretty much as we expected. Kim Hodgman in view at the moment. The Hodges-Rouvray is, as we expected, Smith, Seabohm and Buckley Marshall. So coach is going in pretty much as planned.
Northeast gets the kick away. The back play is very good by the Tigers at the moment. And this man, recruited from Mount Burr many years ago, down the southeast. It's the kick up towards centre-half forward. Lamb from behind, kicked 4 last week, play on the call. He kicked 3 of those 4 in the final term against the Eagles when the game was well and truly won. And we'll have a bounce down about 48 metres out from goal as John Cahill looks on pensively.
And Clayton Lamb is a real a potential thorn to Port Adelaide. He has 50 goals for the season, a real opportunist half forward. There's not much he can't do, and he hasn't won a flag yet. Be looking for it today.
Michael Abbott puts ball to ground. Chalmers wins another tap. It's punched on out there by Northeast. Brown is there, so too Thompson. Paddling it forward. Well done is Lyndon Bowe. He chips out a short pass and he finds Nicholas Chigwidden. So the Tigers doing all the attacking at the 8.5-minute mark of the first term here at Footy Park. He hangs it up in the breeze. Fidge underneath it. That was easy for Delaney. So one-on-one, Delaney has won all 3 contests. He's let himself down with a little bit of poor kicking. This time he feeds it off to Rosonico. Former Collingwood player puts it out to Abernathy. Also had a stint with the Pies across the border. He in turn gives Buckley the run of it. Now Buckley, a very composed player, but that's a wobbly old kicker. Went straight to the Tigers. Duthie goes off the ground. His kick's taken by Fiachi, who's well down the ground. He puts it forward. Duthie couldn't control it. Chance for the Magpies. Williams played for free kick and he got one. Whoa, he ducked his head. We'll have a look at that one.
The Glenelg player's really dirty on it. Here we go. Down he goes. Well, he was actually over the top of the ball, so in retrospect, a fair free kick. He was, as the Williams boys always are, in for the ball first.
Yes, fair point. He was right over the football. He kicks from about 45 metres out into the breeze. And Stephen Williams has missed. So 9.5 minutes in, Port Adelaide get their first score on the board. They now trail by 12 points.
10 minutes, tough breeze. Would have been a good one, but as you can see, that breeze is carrying the ball at least 10 metres across the face of goal.
Rouvray puts it out in front of Mansell. That's a good kick. Buckley won't catch him. Gives a run now to Thompson, going through centre wing. Off goes Fidge, but he's behind Delaney. One-on-one, Fidge! He couldn't quite get that one. The umpire's going against Fidge and giving the free kick to Delaney. The crowd are not impressed. Neither, might I say, is John Fidge. Chalmers, well played against Jamison. Kicks long to the half-forward line. Williams, Mackay up over the top. Mark Williams through, did it well. The veteran's going to get collared. Down he goes. Well, he changed his mind. The umpire's playing to advantage. The Bay's into attack. Mansell having his umpteenth kick. Fidge on the lead. And this time he finds it. Well, he's tucked himself into a pocket.
Yes, he had to go to the leg, and by that I mean Mansell's a right footer. He was under pressure, so he had to run straight into his vision. He did it beautifully to put himself in position. It is a tough corner. Now we'll be right behind him, and if Fidge knows what he's doing from here, he'll aim straight for that left-hand point post and watch it come back.
Might even have to go outside that. Neville will soon know. Delaney on the mark. He goes out. It ball comes back. It swings back. He's picked it beautifully.
And he's exactly where he did aim it. I can tell you from experience that it makes you pretty nervous when you're lining up for those, because you're actually aiming about 15 metres to the left of the goals, and you've got to judge the wind. You've got to get it up high enough to put it in the breeze, and hope like crazy you don't hit a dead spot. Look at this. Trusted his leg, trusted the breeze, did it beautifully. His first goals, that'll certainly settle his nerves down.
Back in the centre and Chigwidden over the football. Glenelg have 3-1. Port Adelaide 1 point. The ball goes out to Phillips. He hasn't had a touch yet. Jamison first there. Can't control it. Went back into the traffic. He's dispossessed. The handball goes out from Lamb. Out towards Bowe. He passes it out towards Fidge again. And Delaney picks up another free kick.
Well, he asked what it's for, but the umpire really watching those two. And that's the second free kick that Fidge has given away for hanging on to Delaney.
5 kicks to Delaney, and this time Phillips picks up his first kick, and the youngster, tongue-in-cheek, goes for a run, has a bounce, drops in a short pass. Williams couldn't get there. It's picked up by Abernathy. Beautiful kick. Hodges gets his first opportunity. He tries to fist it towards the goals. Thompson is there, tackled by Geneva. Rouvray there as well. Into the back of Smith. Play on the call. Seabohm gets the handball out. It goes to Hallahan. They call him the Bear. He's on the left boot. He kicks one out wide. That's his 5th kick, and he finds Marshall, the veteran. It could be his last game as he drives it in long. What can Fidge do? He can fall over. That's not what he wanted to do. He loses possession. Delaney takes it. The Port supporters like that. Chipping in his Lamb, going through his Buckley. Play-on's the call. Port have the numbers and the football as Brown streams forward. Drives out a pass, and he's found Stephen Williams.
Weight of numbers and more desperation on that occasion, as you called it, Kim, and that's really what Port Adelaide are about in finals. You have to match that to beat them.
The Magpies need to convert. That's not a bad-looking kick. Getting back underneath it and taking a good mark is Christie, and that's tremendous back play by the ruckman. And tragically for Fidge, he fell down when he had plenty of space.
That's exactly what you want your ruckman to be doing, getting back, making it hard for the opposition forwards. Reminiscent of number 5 for the Glenelg side, Peter Carey. He did that so well in his career, Ian.
Certainly did. He was a master. One thing about Port Adelaide, they're making some distance into the breeze, so it's not all that strong out there. Hallahan does it well. Chigwin off the half back line. The Bays into attack again. Up towards Mansell. In there was Murphy. Took one high, but the ball trickles off the fingers and out of play. Throw in on the half-forward flank, almost up to centre wing. The Bays by 18 points, 14 minutes into the 92 grand final. Chalmers and Murphy. Lamb waiting behind, but the ball comes down towards Hutton. Not a good kick. Marshall gets a good one. Lamb higher than longer. Rubenek's going to have to stand his ground now with Rowan Smith. Over the top comes Phillips. Hard work in there. Finally it comes out to northeast. Floats one towards centre wing. Brown's looking for it. Can't get the set. 2-on-1. Bow against Brown and Hutton. Quickly, and Hallahan slips it out. Brilliantly done to Bow on the lead. Now he's Fidge. Fidge makes the meter and he's done it again. Well, that's beautifully done. Gee, he knows where to lead.
Well, Hallahan, he had to make up his mind 35 metres from the play. He sprinted to get there to give Brown assistance and managed to get the ball brilliantly to Bow. The kick in was good, and Fidge again. So right behind him again, and you'll notice once again he will head for that left-hand point post. He did almost virtually the same position 5 minutes ago.
Kicks this and it's a miracle. Puts it out wide. Oh, have a look at that breeze as it twisted it right away. In the end, it was lucky just to make a point, but that's what it did make, and the Bays go on to 3-2. Port Adelaide is a point.
So nothing in it at the moment, and Glenelg making good use of the breeze. They've kicked 3 goals. We're 14 minutes in, and we're estimating it to be worth 5 or 6, although we noticed in the reserves game the Eagles did kick goals into it, so that's possible too.
We're at the 15-minute mark of the first term as Delaney goes short, and nearly found Brown. They have the numbers. North East did well to give it back to Brown, so they will get out of trouble. The Magpies need to score into this breeze. They put it out towards Darren Smith, and he takes it nice, and he went to play on. He was accidentally tripped, and Michael Abbott gave him the benefit of the doubt. The short pass into Buckley. Salisbury is there. The veteran opposed to the youngster taking the mark. Enormous future this lad has in front of him as he puts it up looking for Hodges. Rouvray back there, and he couldn't take the mark. Play on's the call.
Yes, he put the ball to ground, had 2 grabs at it but couldn't manage it, and maybe a little bit lucky there. He scooped the ball back under him, and under the holding the ball rule could have got clean, but Michael Abbott had better vision than any of us.
A bounce about 15 metres out. Christie Smith got manhandled, and that was seen by umpire Michael Abbott. Well, we saw it from up here. Christie saying he was held first, but nevertheless, you just can't grab somebody and throw them out of the way.
No, that's a free kick, and you're right, Kim. The umpire obviously didn't see the first infringement, if in fact it was there. I didn't see it either, and Smith from 15 metres. Port would love this one.
It's very important kick for Darren Smith and his side. Supporters righted with him. He should kick it. Goes away to the right a little bit. Has he squeezed it through? He has, only just, but the Magpies are on the board as far as goals are concerned, and it's taken them 16 and a half minutes to get there first.
But it's a steadier. Have a look at this. On the left of screen, pulled out of it, and free kicks that close to goal, particularly when your side's playing so well. To give a goal away that easily always irritates coaches, but nonetheless, Christie says he was held. Umpire didn't see it, so Port Adelaide a nerve settler.
The Bays by 13 points. 3-2 to 1-1, 17 minutes in. Chalmers thumps it towards Smith on the half-forward line. Williams, Stephen type, can't. Chigwin gets it out to Seabohm. In turn, it's Jamison that sends him into attack up towards the half-forward line. Fiachi's there, off the fingers, Phillips. Now Fiachi again, coming across now to Geneva. Geneva goes long to the half-forward line, getting back on its biscuit, up over the top. Great mark, Duthie. He judged it better than the rest. Duthie going short to Salisbury. Mansell's there as well, just as well, because the pass was offline. On the outer side, Lamb skipped the troop. Oh, the umpire said he's going to pay the mark and or the free. Whatever, Lamb has got the football. Now, where's Fidge? Fidge is in the square. He hasn't led. Delaney and Chalmers are back there with him. Fidge is going for home.
I'd back him from here, Daisy, with this breeze.
Wind assisted if he gets onto it. Nice looking kick. It's going to be touch and go. He's made the distance, but he's just offline. 1 point only to the Bays and Clayton Lamb.
And well capable of making the distance outside 50 with the breeze. And that's the only time to really take advantage of the breeze. Other than that, as we said earlier, the same game plan should apply. Use the ball properly with the breeze and make maximum with it when you're in distance of goal.
We're at the 18.5-minute mark, and Port Adelaide only trail by 14 points. If they can maintain that deficit, I think they'll be pretty pleased after the first term. It is a strong breeze. Glenelg doing the majority of the attacking, but Port Adelaide just starting to get some rhythm into their game over the last few minutes. Seabohm kicks it out wide, not all that direct. Hallahan at the front for the crumbs. Fidge back there takes the crumbs. So here's the snapshot. What's it like? It's in the right direction, but it's wide, and in fact it is out of bounds on the full, and there's loose players everywhere for Port Adelaide.
Yes, Port Adelaide want to get on with it quickly and try and move up again into this breeze.
Chalmers kicks long underneath it. Buckley couldn't take it. Back there was Christie. Buckley recovers beautifully. Race for pace. Hutton and Marshall there. Marshall has the football. It's held to him. He flicks it out. And, terrible decision by umpire Michael Abbott. Did not give the players time to get rid of the ball or to work its way free. He was on the blind side, though. I think perhaps he thought it was trapped underneath Marshall. 19.5 minutes into the first term. 1-1 plays 3-3. Christie again. The ball goes down towards Ginniver. It's close to the boundary line and in fact is over the line.
The Bays, a 14-point advantage. We reckon it's a 4 to 5 goal breeze. Halfway, almost 2/3 away through the quarter. Maybe Port Adelaide have done it okay. Buckley hooks around the corner. This will be a difficult one to read. Oh, McKay did it well. Goes through centre, kicks in long. Murphy underneath the ball. Delaney, oh, beautifully thrown out. Rezonico put Chalmers under all sorts of pressure. Lost the football. Rowan Smith against Salisbury. Rubenix there. Fidge on the lead. Chips him out, and that's beautifully put. Oh, Fish lost the handle, and he's fumbled it out of play.
Well, the Port Adelaide fans are absolutely delighted about that, but Salisbury's bit of play to elude his direct opponent in the Port defence gave Fidge a beautiful opportunity, but went astray.
Clayton Lamb hooks around the corner again. Fidge out in front. Delaney's there as well, supported by Rezonico. He's got time to have a look. Oh, the Port Adelaide machine starts to run. Williams off the half-back line. Goes in looking for Buckley. Check side of the centre line. Off goes Darren Smith. Borlaze goes the other way out wide. Getting back under it and taking a fine mark is Visca.
Visca chips out a short pass looking for Rubenik. He has the job of standing Rowan Smith this afternoon. The handball goes out to Thompson. Has one to beat in Brown. Did it quite well. Puts it up towards centre half forward. Chalmers at the back of the pack. Couldn't take it. Lamb looking for the crumbs. Went to ground. Lost his footing. Loose ball. Fiacci couldn't control it. Mansell went through like a truck. Tiger supporters want a free kick. The handball goes out to Rezonico. In turn to Greg Phillips. I tell you what, this defence of Port Adelaide is marvellous, and that's why they've been such a fantastic side for so many years, as Foster puts it up high. Out there, the Tigers have the numbers. That was a throw by Seabohm and seen by umpire Kevin Chambers, and the recipient of the free kick will be Darren Smith.
Smith to send Port Adelaide into attack. 22 minutes gone. Goes towards the half-forward line. Out comes Hodges, with him Rouvray. Rouvray's got the football, can't get clear. Slips it back. That's well played. He gave it away to Christie. In turn, Visca puts it out. Jigwidden needs a set. Murphy's going to give him the football. He's got to go back and get it. Could go back to Murphy in the double play. He needs a set. He's got it. Oh, does it beautifully around Ginniver. Fidge on the lead, and that's where it ends again.
Well, it's Murphy's first touch, and he did it very, very well. Kept composed, waited till he got Fidge in his sight, and just put in a beautiful little chip, left footer, and Fidge will kick from about 55 metres. We saw Lamb made the distance easily about 2 or 3 minutes ago.
Fourth kick, still has to take the left goal post. He's already got 1-1. And one out on the foot. John Fidge. Oh, screw. Well, I don't know why he opted for the screw punt. I don't think I've seen him kick one of those this year. And he's gone off the side of his boot and out of play on the foot.
Well, wrong choice, and we saw him put a mark down before, and that kick won't do his confidence any good. He could have easily have made the distance. He's a massive kick with a drop punt, and as I said, that won't do his confidence any good at all.
Mark Williams brings the ball back into play. Oh, classic grab by Nathan Buckley. That was a gem. Up high. Beautiful hands. That's what football's all about. He came from 3 deep and completed the mark. He's taking plenty of time. Kick number 6 at the 23-minute mark. It's pretty good distance. Duthie front position. Going through his C-bone. Dispossessed by Smith. The kick wasn't effective. He's still in there, Darren Smith. It's flicked out. C-bone there. Abernathy likewise. Hallahan goes in solidly. The ball is held to that player, and we will have a bounce. Great game of football, and Port Adelaide doing very well into the breeze.
Yes, they are, and the pressure around the packs at the moment to get a loose ball. They're matching the numbers. Both sides matching numbers and matching commitment and courage at this early stage.
A chance now for Bow. Has to go for the safety of the line. Port Adelaide doing what they want in as much that they're eking out the seconds. They've only got a 14-point deficit, and at this stage, almost 24 minutes in, is not all that bad. Christie against Chalmers. Mansell can't find it. Mark Williams gives it well across to Abernathy. Put into attack again to the half-forward line. Stephen Williams off, getting back. Fine mark, John Seabourn. And I'm sure that Kim Hodgman will try to get this player to play again next year. Off that kick. Gee, it was tight, but it found Mansell. Check side of the centre line. Murphy comes in short. Chig Whiddens there. Oh, the kick's offline. Picked up by Rubenek. Slipped out now to Jamison. Oh, held back beautifully. Gives a chance to Lamb. Off goes Fidge again. But that's going to be a difficult one to grab. Fidge and Delaney. Well done, Delaney, but only back as far as Jamison. Back out now to Rouvray up in the field. He's lost the football and Foster's away. Gives it away now to Buckley. Bounces his way down the outer side. Still no one putting any pressure. He could go all the way. He's going to be shepherded now. 45 out. Can he do it? The kid gives it a belt and he's missed, I think. What a great goal that would have been. A sensational run from the half-back line, but just pulled it too far across goal.
Well, he's a champion player for his age. We know that. Magnificent margin in the Magarey medal. He played some brilliant football during the year, and the finals certainly haven't hurt his nerves. He's very calm, very relaxed, and unlucky not to score then.
The ball now put out towards Andrew McKay. He had to mark that. It was 2 against 1. But you'd back this lad on most occasions. He's a very solid player. Recruited from the southeast down at Lucendale. He drops it out towards Marshall. He's getting a belting at the moment from Nathan Buckley. That's his second kick. Buckley's had 7. The ball goes to Murphy. Couldn't take it. It hits the ground. Port Adelaide are magnificent in defence. Some real desperation showed there by, I think it's Salisbury. We'll have to wait and have a look. And it is Scotty Salisbury playing his last game for the Tigers.
And the Port Adelaide defence, as we talk about them, able to take possession, change the play and get run at the half-back line, and that's really where they start their attack, Port Adelaide.
Hallahan was dispossessed. The ball's by the boundary line. We've hit time on in this first term. We've had nearly 26 minutes. Port Adelaide 1-2, Glenelg 3-3. Michael Murphy, Phillips from behind. The free kick's been picked out. It will go the way of the Tigers. Let's see who takes the free kick. I would imagine it would have to be Murphy.
So, not featuring that much in the game so far, but what he's done pretty well. A good 3-1, a good chip to Fidge previously, and the umpire just sorting things out. He should make the distance. Let's hope he doesn't try a torpedo like John Fidge did. A drop punt on that left-hand point post, and he should kick a goal.
This is his 3rd kick. He's had 1 handball. He's taking plenty of time. Normally not a bad kick. Pretty tough angle though, because he needs distance as well. He didn't start that one to the left far enough, and it's a classic example of when players just strive for that little bit of extra distance, and that's the second one out of bounds on the full for the Tigers.
And Kim, as I said earlier, with this breeze, if you think you can kick it, it's fine to go for it, but you've really got to treat the breeze like it's not there and do what you would normally do in a match day, and in a match day he probably would have given that off to somebody.
Chalmers got a fine mark on the half-back line. Chalmers to send the Magpies up over the centre line. 2 minutes of time on gone. He kicks a ground-covering kick. Smith's on the lead. With him up there is Seabourn towards the line. Hutton tries to crash his way through, but it's a throw in at centre wing.
And Port Adelaide got the points this quarter, Daisy. We reckon it's at least a 5-goal breeze and only about 13 separating them.
Couldn't agree more, and Buckley comes over the top and wastes just that few more seconds. Buckley in superb form, as well he might be. A champion in the making, the 1992 Magarey medalist. Comes back towards Brown once again, the seconds tick away. And it's take 3 in the same spot, throw-in boundary line at the interchange goal.
So John Cale would be very happy with their first quarter, and it'll be interesting to see just how Port Adelaide used the breeze in this second quarter.
As the ball goes down to Buckley again, traps it beautifully. Another kick for the 92 Magarey medalist. Behind there was Thompson, going through as McKay. Geez, good this lad. He puts it up to centre half forward, one-on-one. Phillips uses his body and takes the grab. Very hard to move a man that big. Phillips stood his ground. He fed it off to Rezonico, puts it out wide. It's a race for pace. Rowan Smith out there. Will the ball set? It does. Rubinek cuts him off at the pass. Smith has to put up a high handball to Foster. They're under pressure. Foster did it well. In fact, he did it extremely well to get it back to Smith, who spears out a pass. The siren goes. Honours to Port Adelaide in that first term. They trail 1-2, 8 points. Glenelg leading 3-3-21.
The Bays by 13 points, but our boys feel as though it's not quite enough with the breeze. Graham Campbell said it's a 10-shot breeze down at ground level. The start of the second quarter, Glenelg 3-3, Port Adelaide 1-2. Thumped away there by Christie. Abernethy gets it up towards the half-forward line. Not a good kick. Seabohm has to go for the safety, however. Duthie through, intercepted. Well done, Borlays. Has his first kick, but it's going back towards Visca, and he takes a strong mark on the half-back line. The Bays are well served across half-back with Visca and also McKay. And, of course, they've got the experience of Seabohm. Murphy. No, that's Jamison up there now. Now, Jamison has got Rubinek going wide. He does it well. Rubinek elects to play on. Gives a charge. Chigwed. No, he's going to run into trouble. Back to Hallahan. Where's Fidge? In there to Rubinek. Oh, and a roundhouse right from George. Almost dismembered his head.
Well, if you have to... Well, that's 50. Now, that's what the 50-metre rule should be used for. Now, that just because he didn't hit him doesn't excuse him from it. And, I mean, that is just so obvious. And the umpire, Michael Abbott, has had enough experience for grand finals. Should have been 50.
Just as well he didn't hit him. Would have finished on the Grange golf course. Rubinek didn't read the breeze at all well. In fact, Fidge takes a mark on a boat. Runs into goal and gets it. Oh, Boots is second. What terrible checking by the Port Adelaide defence.
Well, the kick in... offline, and Fidge the only one really concentrating on it. In it comes, Fidge right behind the goals. He started back. Delaney just lost him in the sun, and even Chalmers didn't jump for the ball. He went back there to lend a hand with height. Oh, terrible mistake by the Port Adelaide people in defence, and we've seen a couple of them now, a couple of mishandles and a couple of missed kicks.
Quite incredible. Glenelg get one into the breeze. They lead 4-3. Port Adelaide 1-2. That was absolutely amazing. McKay is there, stands his ground as per the norm. Players jump on top. Abernethy is there, so too Mansell. So we've had nearly 2 minutes of the second term. Port Adelaide 1-2, Glenelg 4-3. Umpire Michael Abbott has the ball. He's officiating with Kevin Chambers this afternoon. You're on Nine's Wide World of Sports, the 92 grand final. Chalmers wins another tack, but he was into the back then of Christie. Christie gets a free kick. Pretty warm out there this afternoon. 22 degrees, in fact. That's a lovely kick, and it goes out towards Marshall. Marshall may have been moved. We'll try and pick that up as the ball now goes in towards Hallahan. The Bear puts one up high. It's not the best kick he's ever done, but chance for Fidge, and he's got it! Well, Fiacci was there. He would have heard the thundering feet of John Fidge approaching, and Fidge took it on the chest.
5 marks and 6 kicks, but whilst that was a good mark, what is significant at the moment is within 2 minutes of this second quarter starting, Glenelg having their second shot at goal, having already kicked one, and this man in vision did just that. This could be a very important part of this grand final, particularly if Fidge converts this one.
He's kicked 2-1 so far and 1 out on the full. 2 out on the full, I should say. He starts it in the right place. In fact, he's kicked that one too powerfully, and the breeze never really got hold of it, so he gets another point at the 3-minute mark.
And he'd be suitably annoyed. The breeze has shown us its character all day, that if you put it up high, it'll move the ball 15 or 20 metres. He did everything right there, and the breeze just hit it. Well, as I said earlier, every now and then you hit a dead spot, and the ball goes exactly where he kicked it. So his second point, 2 out in the full, so he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots at goal.
Delaney, the kick's not a good one, a tumble punt. Foster couldn't, neither can Abernethy. Mansell's in there, Hallahan as well. They stack up. Finally, it's thrown out now towards Christie. Christie gets one on the half-forward line. Mansell! Well, Port Adelaide under pressure, Neville.
tremendous volume of opportunities and distributions into their forward line for Glenelg at the moment.
Oh, Fidge was on the lead. Mansell's kick wasn't all that good. Going in quickly now, Clayton Lamb shoots in high. Oh, the umpire goes galloping. That's fishtailing all over the place. And in the end, he said it's only 1 point, and that is Clayton Lamb's second.
And Scotty Salisbury's got the job on Nathan Buckley at the moment, or at least he's picking him up currently.
So Marshall has been moved to a wing, and as Neville mentioned, Buckley has now got Scott Salisbury to contend with. Somewhat of a mismatch in pace, but I can assure you Salisbury will keep his mind on the job, and he'll make Buckley earn every ball. As Salisbury got to that contest again, and he did well. Michael Abbott says it's a dead heat. Buckley thought he'd taken the mark. I think Salisbury may have just stuck a mitt in him there.
And Scott Salisbury, number 36, he'll risk everything. Game coming live from Footy Park on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Absolutely everything. He is obsessed and has no regard for his own physical well-being, Scotty Salisbury.
High tackle by Abernathy. Free kick to Mansell. He's becoming a real factor in this game, finding a lot of the football. 9 kicks already and 2 handballs. This time he goes out wide. He's looking for Marshall. Foster came over the top, and he'll take that over the boundary line. And quite happy just to get a breather across the half-back line there. 5-minute mark. Port Adelaide 1-2. Glenelg 4-5. The only time Glenelg have defeated Port Adelaide in a grand final was back in 1934, and they won that game by a mere 9 points. Fiarchi over the top, thrown out of it, and the tackle high, according to umpire Kevin Chambers.
Fiarchi off the half-back line, centres the ball. Smith comes up there, but in front, good mark taken by Salisbury. Adding some strength to that spot, slips it out now to Hallahan, having his umpteenth kick. Kicks in long, up towards the half-forward line. Murphy! Strength, courage, did it well. In the square is Fidge. Intercepted this time, Delaney. Well, Murphy did the right thing. It was almost an impossible shot from where he was. Fidge alone in the square, but the wind is fickle, and Delaney intercepted quite easily in the end. Returns the ball towards the centre. The back of the pack, they got a chance now through Hutton. Great tackle put on him by Salisbury. Down they go, Salisbury still in there. Out to Mansell, chips it out, but off the side of the boot. Rowan Smith has time to have a look. No one to kick to, or has he? Darren Smith. Too far for that player. Rubenik bearing down upon him. Smith well played. Bad tackle there by Rubenik. Puts it in towards the half-forward line. Stephen Williams. Over the top comes Mackay and sends the ball out of play. And the two umpires working in tandem with goal umpire and boundary umpire said the ball was out before Stephen Williams tried to thump it forward.
And Port Adelaide just not getting an easy ball into their forward line at the moment. Glenelg putting so much pressure on upfield. Their forwards just nothing emerging for them at all.
Tigers lead by 21 points at the 7-minute mark as the ball's taken by Jennifer. He gets the snapshot away. Hodges is there opposed to Rouvray. They haven't had a lot of opportunities either player, but at this stage Rouvray on top. Hodges yet to get a kick or a handball.
And we've seen Rouvray having to take on some giants over the last month. He's done it pretty well, and he's a good pacey defender. He's not afraid to run off his player, and he can match Hodges in height.
Big lead from behind by Mark Williams. He took the football, got the handball away. Rouvray went through. Opportunity now for Borlase. He's been quiet. The ball goes out to Duthie. Smith committed himself. Borlase gets another attempt. Couldn't get ball to boot cleanly, though. In there's a heap of desperation. Williams went through with the boot, and the crowd appreciate the efforts by both sides.
Well, that particular 30 seconds is a good phrase in describing the desperation Glenelg have shown, and as I said earlier, they'll have to match that all day with Port Adelaide because that's their trademark.
The Magpies have gone 8 minutes without a square. Oh, Scott Hodges had an airy. Hallahan well done. Back to Mansell. Playing fine game. Both that pair as he bounces his way out of defence. Doesn't know where to go in the end, or puts it into Rubenik. He's got problems. Back now to Salisbury. Salisbury ducks the chutney. Lost the football. Mansell in against the tide. Strong work. Foster hooks it back towards the half-forward line. Over the top of Williams. They come. Dumped it back to Thompson. Thompson's got time to have a look as he straightens up. The kick is not a good one. And Rowan Smith at centre wing can't control it. Neville, that ball must be exceedingly hard to kick into the breeze. It's wobbling all over the place.
Well, the only player I've seen kick well into the breeze has been Nathan Buckley. Real control, depth and power.
At the throw-in, Hallahan again. Only Grubbers won as far as Chigwidden. Got it to Lamb, did it well. Now the Bays into attack up towards the half-forward line. Jamison grabbed high. Gee, it's one-on-one. Fidge and Delaney. Lamb is elected to play on. Fidge on the lead, can't quite get there. Doubles back again. He's got a chance here. Crashes his way through. Can't get a kick away. And it's northeast for Port Adelaide coming away.
They didn't do it all that well, the Tigers. Chigwidden and Fidge. Chigwidden didn't know where to run. Now it's the Magpies' opportunity to go into attack as Smith gets it out to Ginniver. Back to Smith in the old 1-2. He in turn punches it forward. There's Hodges. He didn't take it. He's hit. And he gets a free kick for a push in the back. And it could be 50 if they're not careful.
Well, there was certainly a late attack on the player. And it was over the shoulder from Rouvray. Technically, the free kick is there, and the umpire, good vision, he saw it, but some would argue it's a bit soft, but nonetheless, technically it's there, and Port Adelaide, they are desperate to kick this. We're 10 minutes into the second quarter. They have one goal only.
And this is Scott Hodges' first kick in 1990. The last time these two sides met in the grand final, he kicked 6 goals, 5, and they need one at the moment. He lines them up, and he has banged it through. They needed that one.
So the 24-year-old Crow in Port Adelaide full forward has finally broken through for a goal. There was the free kick. Rouvray late on the scene, and Hodges kicking from about 30 metres. He is very accurate. That's his trademark. He's a goal-kicking forward, and he really did need to get that to settle down his confidence, and Port Adelaide needed it as well.
The Magpies 4-5, correction 2-2, the Bays 4-5. Both Port Adelaide goals have come from frees in front of the sticks. Smith through, Marshall can't find it. Coming out is Ginniver, floats one in towards the half-forward line. Hodges, Rouvray, at the back is Visca, well backed up. He's got to go for the safety of the line as no play was evident, and it's out of bounds on the half-forward right flank with Port Adelaide in attack. Well, it took them 10 minutes with the breeze to get their first score. They trail by 15 points. Smith's in there and he thumps it back from whence it came. Another throw in at the 50-metre mark. Wind assisted. We reckon it's 4-5. It hasn't proved that way yet. Although, as we mentioned, when Graham Campbell was down there, he said it was very brisk. Over the top will come Seabohm. Thompson slips it over to Chigwidden, couldn't find the handle. He bottles the ball up and umpire Chambers will have to bounce.
11 and a half minutes into this second term. 2-2 plays 4-5, 29 points opposed to 14. The ball hits the ground. Thompson up high. He goes towards the boundary line. They'll adopt similar tactics to what Port Adelaide did in the first term going into this breeze. The Tigers have proved it's quite capable of scoring into this breeze. Marvellous atmosphere here. Crowd of around 43,000 people. Big fist away by Seabohm. It goes down to Rubenik. Should jam it on the boot. Gets the kick away. It's a low one looking for Halland. Trapped it sensationally. That's good work by Foster. Owen Smith nearly stole it, but the ball was out of play, so we'll have a throw in once more. 12 minutes into the second term. Chalmers front position. Christie from behind. Christie won that one. It went down to Salisbury. Tried to get the handball out. Chigwidden pushes it forward. Buckley likewise. Clever work by Murphy. I'm not sure it was intended. And eventually it goes over the line, and perhaps could have done a little bit more with that opportunity.
Well, he was checkmated, and Murphy's done exceptional hand skills there to get away. But what Greg Phillips did then was kept his eye on the body, not the ball, and he managed to trap Murphy on the boundary.
Marshall can't find it. Brown gives it back there to Salisbury. I think it is on the bottom, not Salisbury. In the end, it will be Murphy, and the umpire will... No, we'll take it is Murphy. And the umpire will ball it up again. Scooter Salisbury on Nathan Buckley as the anxious Kim Hodgman looks on. He's got a 15-point advantage at the moment. Chalmers gets it up towards his half-forward line. Well played, Ginniver. Gives a run now to Brown. Clear now is Setri having his first run. He's 30 out. Gives it a ride. That's a brilliant kick and a goal!
Well, deja vu for Adrian Setri. I think in 1990 he came on and kicked 3 goals coming off the bench. Here he is making an impact right in front of goal. And now he's tucked into the boundary. He's running the wrong way. He's got a massive gale running at his back. He managed to get it around far enough. A clever goal for the little fella, and just how much more impact he'll have, we'll see shortly.
A much-needed goal to the Magpies. They trail 3-2. Glenelg 4-5 back in the centre. That should lift their spirits a little bit. Seabohm doing a good job. Gets the handball out to Duthie. He farms out a wide one that finds McKay. He in turn goes over the top to Rubenik. That's quick work to get it to Hallahan. The ball sits nicely. They've got the loose player in Mansell. He's got Chalmers to beat. He took his time. The ball goes in long. Getting back there is Fidge! And he's taken it. Well, all of a sudden, John Fidge becoming a factor in this game after a rather tardy start.
Well, he was absolutely out of position, and have a look at the players converging on him, including Murphy. Virtually took it one-handed, and one out with physical strength. He's very difficult to beat, and he's been a real factor in this game to date. He's had 6 shots at goal. He's kicked 2 points and 2 out on the full. He'll kick from only 10 metres, but he's on about a very difficult angle anyway.
And you can hear that crowd. One gets the feeling he's not the most popular person out here, certainly as far as Port supporters are concerned. Important kick. Can they get the quick reply? He's only 15 metres out. It looked pretty good off the boot. No, he's missed it. In fact, they were the Port supporters cheering.
I guess they'd be cheering now, and so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if Fidge has 15 shots at goal if his conversion rate isn't high. At the moment, from 7 shots, only 2 goals. It's around the 20% conversion, and he'd want to improve on that.
The main thing is, from the Bay's point of view, he's finding the football, or it is finding him. Delaney kicks long, down looking for Chalmers. Christie in front and too strong. Slings it over to Marshall. Now where's Fidge? Marshall dummies in, fires in long, 1-on-1. Delaney getting back on the football. Lost it, but he recovers well. Slips it over to Northeast, and he tumbles one back towards centre wing. The bounce favours Setri. Buckley is running. Beautifully done, Setri. Salisbury can't catch him. Port into attack. Out comes Hodges. At the back is Thompson. With him is Geneva. And he no, the umpire has seen a free kick. It's going the way of the Bays, and will be taken in defence by Robbie Thompson.
Now it's actually Rouvray who will take the kick, but Nathan Buckley, great tap on by Setri, but Buckley's run, it reminds me of the West Coast Eagles wingman Matera, just how much ground he covers. Magnificent.
Rouvray, who's fast becoming pro status as a full back, I would think. Playing extremely well in that position, as mean as they come. The kick wasn't all that good, but Marshall was in front of the pack, and he's taken the mark on the half-back flank. Fourth kick to David Marshall, starting to get into the game now. He drives up towards Jamison. Shot mark. Gee, the Bays need him to go well. Puts it up for Mansell. It's not a good kick. If he gets to sit, they've got a chance. Mansell has to get rid of it in a hurry. Phillips getting back on it. Man Mountain takes the mark on the half-back flank.
Not a good kick then by Mansell on the left boot, and couldn't execute the football as he would have liked. Now Phillips changes tack. He puts it out wide to Brown. They need some goals, the Magpies. We're only at the 16-minute mark, so they've got plenty of time, but good pressure being applied by the Tigers. Back there is Bow, so too Seabohm. McKay lends some support as well, as Seabohm puts it out wide and he finds Hallahan. So they just settle things down here a little bit. He'll try and pick out the best option. He's had 10 kicks already and 5 handballs. He puts it in towards Lamb, who couldn't take it. Abernathy can. Drives it inside 50. Visca sets himself. Hodges had the sit, couldn't take it. Good handball by Darren Smith. That was a beauty. Buckley has one to beat. That was Rouvray. He did it easy. He's a class act, and he banged it through. By gee, they wanted that one.
Well, a class act. That sums up the 20-year-old Magarey medalist in South Australia this year. What a magnificent piece of work. Wide, Darren Smith did the hard work in the pack. Buckley. Now, he hasn't got much confidence, has he? Like, he backed himself against a player his own age virtually and similar pace and just left him in his wake. A brilliant piece of individual work. He's been controlled pretty well in this first 17 minutes, but he got away on that occasion.
Only 2 kicks this quarter for Buckley, but he's put Port Adelaide back in business. They're only 4 points down. Back into the action again. Smith gets taken out. The umpire didn't see it that way. Duthie goes down and will ball the ball up on the half-forward line of Port Adelaide. Their supporters justifiably start to think they're getting into the game. Christie back to Mackay or Duthie on the bottom of the pack. Mackay it was, and the umpire will come and ball it up same spot. 4-6 plays 4-2. Port has not had its nose in front to this stage, and at one stage trailed by 19 points. They're coming back now. Chalmers. Mackay again. Great smother off the boot. Brown. Williams can't find it. Brown fights for it. Back now towards Stephen Williams. Concedes back now to Abernethy. Drops it onto his boot. Hodges on the lead. Well, I think it was possibly fortuitous. Abba was under pressure, Neville, but you've only got to get it forward.
Yes, and Scott doing the basics now. He's had to, because Rouvre's done such a good job on him playing in front. And he knows the ball's coming in under pressure. He's not going to get it he's not going to get it in easy, and did it well to win front position.
Hodges, nice looking kick. Port Adelaide are in front in the 92 final.
So Scotty Hodges leading through his second for the day, and his total of 341 goals for his career in his 101st club game, and he's a valuable player. As I said, not waiting for the ball to come in easy, because it's certainly not doing that today. Deciding to get back to basics, get in front and win the hard ball. He did it on that occasion, and he's an expert in front of goal when it comes to execution.
Back in the centre, Glenelg have had 10 scoring shots. Port Adelaide have had 7, but they lead by 2 points in the 92 grand final. So it's nip and tuck at the moment as Christie wins the tap. He puts it out wide. It goes to Hallahan. Gets another kick. That's his 11th. It goes in the direction of Bow. He's paddling the ball forward. Tried to soccer it off the ground. Ginniver has it. This looks ominous for the Tigers as Port Adelaide go forward, but the mark's been taken by Thompson. His kick was smothered by Brown, and it wasn't a good play by Thompson.
So conditions now just a little overcast, and that wind picking up. So it's not easy out there, and I make the point now that if any one of these sides messes up with this breeze in any way, that'll be the ball game.
And I reckon we may get some rain in the final term, so you'd want to lead at three-quarter time. Up high is Clayton Lamb, couldn't take it. Chigwedden pushed it forward. It went straight to northeast. Starting to look a little more composed now, Port Adelaide. Chalmers has the football. The boy from the West Coast puts it inside 50. That's direct play. But we go from the West Coast to the southeast as Andrew Mackay takes a very strong mark and also gets 50 metres.
Against Williams for unduly wasting time, but that's a point in using the breeze, Kim. Maybe Delaney, Chalmers made the most of the breeze, but he might have been better to have actually picked somebody out and kicked it 10 yards shorter. They didn't keep possession, and whilst he maximised the use of the breeze at the risk of losing the footy, maybe that's not the smartest move.
Mackay has the football. He's in the centre square. He puts it inside 50. Setting himself behind was Murphy, but Chalmers was there. He's a master at the back play, and he plays with experience that belies his age as the ball now goes out towards Ginniver. He was tackled. Bit of pressure out there at the moment. Going in strongly is Williams. He hasn't had a lot of the football, nor's his brother Stephen. Delaney rode the bump beautifully. There's some experience. That's good football as the crowd start to warm to this game, and Christie takes the mark, but a free kick will go the way of Rouvre for a push.
He's out at centre half back. Borlay's about to re-enter the arena. Setri took his place. Here's a chance. Port Adelaide, David Hutton sets it up for Smith. Seabone over the top. In goes Salisbury against the tide. Showed a lot of courage. Lost the football. Seabone at the bottom of the pack. In goes Brown. Hodges out there as well. But the umpire will come and ball it up on Port Adelaide's half-forward line.
So Salisbury, Hallahan and some of the smaller players really taking up the crumbing part of the game to Port Adelaide at the moment, making sure they hit through the ball, body over it, and making it very hard for Port Adelaide to win the ball away from packs.
Buckley gets the knock. Duthie coming to meet at Rouvre, crashes one, runs into trouble, has to throw it away. Seabone gives it away to Mansell. Mansell has got Marshall out wide, and that's where it'll end. Marshall on the half-back line. Puts a low one, but not very well directed. Great run down of Northeast by Lamb. Northeast gets another chance. Gives it away now. Here's a chance for Port Adelaide to go into attack. Abernethy. Hodges against Rouvre. Hodges in front. Brings down the football. Could get a free kick there. Not to be. Jamison runs into trouble. Setri. But hang on. The umpires pulled it up. Setri about to have a kick. But I think you'll find a free kick will go the way of the Bays. And it'll be taken in the back pocket by Christie.
Stephen Williams off the ground. I mentioned before he's been quiet, and Daisy Borlay's back into the action. Now Visco may go over the top. Does so with a short pass, looking for Mackay, who stands his ground. And good shepherd there by Rouvre as Mackay plays on. Puts it out wide, looking for Jamison. Northeast is there. Jamo tried to hold front position. Northeast is a tough customer, and the ball is out of play. We're at the 23.5-minute mark. Port Adelaide maintain their lead, 32 points to the Tigers 30. This has been a tough game of football. Phillips opposed to Murphy. Ginniver gets it, gets the kick centre field. First player there is Hutton, he takes the mark. Been a quiet player. Port Adelaide supporters, they appear to be outnumbering the Tiger supporters here. They're very vocal. This will be only the second kick for David Hutton. Chambers wouldn't buy into that 50-metre that the... oh, look at that, Duthie! Oh, that is a gem of a mark.
And Duthie, who would think he's a 200-game player? Have a look at that, up and over the top.
Plays on quickly, out to Hallahan, one of the better players. There's no one standing to mark. In fact, the player's been held up. Is there 50 metres? I think there is. And Mark Williams having a big word with umpire Michael Abbott.
And Kim, that whilst he might do that, it'll do him no good. But that's a beautiful example of just how confident and their approach to the ball at the moment. Duthie, a 31-year-old, jumping over the back of the pack, really confident, really aggressive, going at the footy.
And Duthie from centre field gets the kick away. It goes down towards Brown. Brown over the top, but Rubenik is there. Can't get to him. Good speed by David Brown. Rouvray with a timely push. He got rid of Hodges. He did it well. Good shepherd by Visca. Hodges stood his ground and the pass goes into Rubenik and he takes a good diving mark. We've hit time on in the second term. 5 kicks, 5 handballs for Rubenik. And he's kicked it straight out towards Ginniver, who did well. The little fella stood his ground.
Port Adelaide into time on, about to go into attack as well. Short, 8 and 5, the possession for there. Mansell can't find it. Quickly onto the boot now of Abernethy. Hodges looking for it. Oh, he's paid the mark, I think. Well, he didn't have a huge grab, I can assure you. Rouvray can't believe it, but I tell you, Scott Hodges will shoot for goal.
Yes, either a free kick or a mark, but he got pretty close attention there. Now this will really test him. The Glenelg players, Christie and Visca, moving in around him. He'll only kick from about 5 metres, but he's tight to the boundary end. Although he's on his right foot, he should be able to sneak it through from there.
I think he'll probably break a little. There he breaks around, hooks it through, and that is a goal. Scotty Hodges beats his first, and his second, correction, make it 3. I'll get it right in a moment. Port Adelaide move on to 6-2, Glenelg 4-6.
Yes, indeed, it is his third in, and all of them have come in this quarter. He was very well controlled until midway through this quarter by Rouvray, but I must admit he hasn't had any of those kicks easy. Scott Hodges has had to work for every single goal he's got today. It's been pretty tough out there for number 11, but he's done it well, and he's got the Maggies back in the ball game.
Back in the centre once more. Port Adelaide 6-2. Glenelg trailing on 4-6. As Northeast took a big swipe at the football, didn't make contact. Chigwidden is in there, and Northeast just repeats the motion. And we'll get an opportunity to do that again. Well, this game is out.
And Kim, I really think the change in... I thought Glenelg had the ascendancy, and you just can't ever take it away from Port Adelaide. Scott Salisbury's control of Nathan Buckley in the centre did change the game, but just through other avenues, they've bounced back.
Chigwidden was in there. The handball didn't find a teammate. Now looking to the free kick is Williams, and umpire Michael Abbott wouldn't buy into that. And away he goes again, Mark Williams. He's not shy to have a word. He's only had 3 possessions, and it may be in his best interest to concentrate on the football and drag himself into the game, which is possibly going to be his last game of league football. As Setri trapped it beautifully. The handball goes out toward Buckley. He could kick it from here, but he didn't bring it back to the left, and he's put that one out on the full. The distance wasn't a problem. It does appear that there could be some rain in the Adelaide foothills, heading north and over in the north, and it's heading this way. So you've got a lead. They'll be in a good position as far as this game is concerned. If it gets wet and slippery, as Rouvray, Marshall up high, couldn't take it. Rubenik back of the pack, gave it to Marshall. He was under enormous pressure. Now a loose ball out to Thompson. He gets the kick away and it goes straight to Rowan Smith. Smith was keen to play on. Rowan Smith had a stint with St Kilda. Had 3 kicks and 4 handballs. Borlase provides a lead. Smith decides to kick long. Hodges will come 3 deep, and standing his ground and taking a very good mark is Gary Christie.
Looking pretty murky at Football Park. 28 minutes gone. Port Adelaide by 8 points. Oh, slipping over on the outer side. Buckley with a chance. In goes Bo. Borlase gives chase, but this ball is out of play in the full forward left pocket. It's thundering back at North Adelaide, and if anything, I reckon the wind has gusted up a little bit since halfway through that quarter. Port Adelaide by 8 points. Must be getting dark. They've put the lights on the grandstand. Mansell looks around the corner. High, floating in there, Salisbury. Just that little gentle push. The umpire didn't worry about that one. And Scooter Salisbury gets a free kick from half-back flank. Salisbury chips out the short pass in towards, oh, that's not going to be Reach's target. Northeast gives it away to Buckley. Buckley gives it a huge ride. That is not a bad-looking kick, but it's offline. And despite the antics of Hodges and Rouvray in the square, it goes over their head for another point to Port Adelaide.
Siren should sound any moment now. We've had 29 minutes of this second term, and Port Adelaide looking pretty good at the moment with a 9-point advantage. So they've managed a pretty useful turnaround as the rain starts to fall here at Football Park as we predicted. Williams more or less threw that one. It went out to Smith. He in turn went back to Seabohm. Seabohm to Robbie Thompson. Thompson puts it up high. Rubinick will have to buy into the action, but Smith just too tall, too strong. Should move it in quickly. They're running out of time. He puts it towards the centre of the ground. Trying to pick it up on the half volley was Brown. He did well, had good vision to see Fiachi, who slipped down the ground. So they got a long way to go, but they've got the breeze and they get it inside 50, courtesy of that kick from Fiachi. And by gee, we've been treated with some fantastic marks this afternoon, and that was a classic there by Visca.
Yes, one out contest, and Visca, eyes on the ball, managed to take it with just one hand. Beautiful piece of skills.
Short pass over the head there of Seabohm. This could be very costly. Williams has it. Smith is wide. Williams goes infield back to Geneva. Now it goes to Foster. Kicks from 49 metres out. The siren will sound any second. They've kicked it, and it's come from a Tiger error, and you cannot afford to do that in a grand final.
Well, the Tigers have gone from about a 10-point lead at just before time on, and now they trail by 15 points. And that might be a very ominous sign for Glenelg, should I say. Foster coming down from half-back, had no trouble from the 50-metre line. And these last 3 or 4 goals from Port Adelaide, very, very important in the result of this game.
The umbrellas go up at Football Park as the rain starts to tumble down. 7-3 to Port 6. Port Adelaide make their mark on the 92 grand final as Christie thumps it out to the outer side. The bounce favours Mansell. But in the interim, a free kick will go to David Hutton, centre square. He'll play Port Adelaide into attack. Quickly now to Chalmers, who'll get run down, gets the kick away. It's a huge kick, that could bounce through. Oh, what a goal, he's booted it from 80 metres. And Port Adelaide have got 8 on the board.
Well, what a super piece of work. They've absolutely made the most of this breeze. They kicked only 1 into it. They've managed 7 against it, and Glenelg have only managed 2 into it. So we're really and truly on top. Chalmers absolutely out of range on that occasion, but he just put it up in the air. Scotty Hodges was on a lead. The ball went over his head, and Luxor Fortune, they got the bounce and their 8th goal.
And we have hail pelting down here at Football Park. What a turnaround. It was 22.5 degrees only about half an hour ago, and the people here can't believe it. So some very valuable goals. They've kicked 3 in time on the Tigers, and they have an advantage now of 21 points. And as I said, that is courtesy of 3 goals in time on.
Well, Glenelg went into this second quarter after a reasonable first quarter. I still gave the points to Port Adelaide in that first quarter. They although Glenelg led by 13 points, I didn't think they'd used the breeze that well, though they started brilliantly in that second quarter. Fidge got away, didn't convert as many as he should have. Salisbury got on top of Nathan Buckley in the centre, and they really looked like they might do some damage in this second quarter into the breeze. But Port Adelaide, the way we know they can, they set up the loose man, they kept doing the hard work, they kept getting people around the ball, and Scotty Hodges, not getting anything easy, got in front, won 3 hard balls, kicked 3 goals, and Port Adelaide just haven't looked back since.
At half-time in the 92 grand final, Port Adelaide 8-3 lead the Bays 4-6. We'll be back to Football Park shortly.
It is half-time here at Football Park, so it's time to sit back, relax and enjoy the entertainment provided by the Calisthenics Association of South Australia. watching the Calisthenics Association of South Australia, and the girls did a marvellous job. We'll be back in a moment.
It appears that Kretschmer's got the job on Delaney this quarter too, Ian.
Port Adelaide 8-3, the Bays 4-6. The last half of the 1992 Grand Final underway. At the bounce, it is Chalmers, line ball that one. Ginniver sends Port into attack up towards the half-forward line. Brown shovels it out. Hartnorgy, that ground is slippery. Couldn't get a decent kick away. Down goes Setri as well. Out comes Kretschmer. He's on the turf, as Neville told you, and gets it out wide to Mansell. Mansell to send the Bays into attack. Short or Marshall will give it back to him in the double play. Supported now by Chigwidden. The Bays need a good start. Slips it up. Fidge about to get the leap, and Fidge has got the football. Well, he's uncanny how he finds it. Seldom does he get off the ground, but it seems to lob on his chest.
And let's have a look at how he got there. He was in a good position, stood his ground, and he seems to have tweaked a hamstring as he got up. He grabbed the back of his leg, and I'll watch that with interest. This is a routine goal for Fidge. The rain has caused the wind to die, and this is only 10 metres straight in front.
If ever the Bays needed a goal, they need it right now. 7 marks, 9 kicks. John Fidge towards the golf course end. He's popped it through. Goal number 3, and the Bays off to a good start.
Well, he appears to be moving okay, and that's very important for the Glenelg, because I think everybody in this stadium realises that if Glenelg have got any chance of winning this game, Fidge has got to be still a big part of the game. Glenelg, as they did in the first quarter and early in part of the second, running it in with numbers, getting people around the ball, and just on this occasion not picking out Fidge, but bombing it in. Good position. And he's managed to kick the last 3 goals for the Tigers, and that's what indicated to me the way he got up, he might be a bit sore.
Well, the opening 4 and 5 minutes of each term haven't been a problem for the Tigers. It's the rest of the quarter that's given them headaches. Smith gets the ball. That was slick out to Abernathy. The veteran shows a yard too. Kicks from 50 metres out. Back there is Hodges, and he's taken the grab. Well, he will be on a most acute angle, very similar to a goal he kicked in the second term. He plays on. There's the short pass, and he's found Borlays, and it's not allowed. Well, timeout had been called.
Yes, that's very frustrating, and often those opportunities come up during that time, but the umpire's still getting a line on the ball. Now time on, he can do what he likes. He'll run around, no doubt.
He did it in the second term. Has he done it again? It's not a problem for a full forward of his stature.
No, it really is quite...
4 kicks and 4 goals, and Scotty Hodges making light work of that angle. The ball came in from Abernathy, who I really think was actually having a shot at goal. Didn't make the distance going into the breeze. Scott Hodges read it beautifully. He was brought to ground nicely by Rouvray, and made light work of the angle, ran around and booted through his 4th.
The Magpies regain their 21-point half-time advantage. The Bays into attack again. Smith, Rubenek, gee, that ground is slippery. Quickly back now to Jamison, hooks around the corner. Salisbury it was, and it's Rosonico who takes the mark in defence. Oh, he sets up Big Chalmers. Mansell did it well. Rosonico again. Williams off the half-back line will go out wide and find Rowan Smith. Getting pretty dark here at Football Park as Port Adelaide chip out the pass. And on the half-back line, it's Abba. I think you'll find the breeze has dropped. In fact, the flags might be wet, but gee, they're hardly moving against the masts, and this might produce a better half from that point of view. Christie going through Mansell. Mansell kicks it out long towards centre wing. The bounce, oh, in comes Phillips. Getting there first was Bow. Out he goes, or Jamison. Quickly back, Hutton, great tackle there by Murphy, and takes the ball out of play.
Some heavy body work, though, you expected in finals, and Murphy, have a look at this, great tackle, and caught the player as he was trying to kick it, and then came back and stopped it from being played on. Good work, Murphy.
Chalmers front position, the ball's punched down by Williams, punching it forward. Visca couldn't get much meterage there as the ball goes over the line. And for a point of interest, I can tell you at 3 p.m. this afternoon, that the little country town of Ardrossan experienced 150 points of rain. If you're not aware of where Ardrossan is, it's on the St Vincent's Gulf, and my parents and my family are over there holidaying at the moment, so a good day to be watching the football because it's too wet to be outside. As Hallahan picks the ball up, gets a wobbly one. They need a bit more distance than that. Jamieson had nowhere to go, and the ball goes out of play. So we've had 5 minutes of this third term. Port Adelaide lead 9-3, Glenelg 5-6.
And the challenge fairly at the feet of the Tigers as the lights come on in Overcast Football Park. As I said, the challenge firmly at the feet of the Tigers at the moment. They mustn't let Port Adelaide enlarge this gap. They must kick goals, put the pressure back on Port Adelaide, because at the moment Port Adelaide could start to play a little bit arrogantly.
These two sides have clashed twice during season 1992. In round 8 at the Bay, Port Adelaide won by 26 points. In round 17 at Football Park, Port won by 17 points. As the ball goes out to McKay, has a little bit of space, puts a handball over the top. It's cleverly tapped out towards Kretschmer. He's waiting for the ball to sit. It won't happen in this type of weather. Now Abernathy in there provides the pressure. That's good play. Duthie there though. Glenelg have the numbers. They'd want to be quick though. He couldn't get a handball away, and away go the Pies. 10 out of 10 for perseverance as Rowan Smith gives it to Buckley. Buckley goes long and he's looking for Hodges, but taking the mark is Smith, and that's a very clever grab.
Oh, I think he surprised himself. There he is, one hand out. He would have been happy. He'd be happy at training to take one of those, let alone in a grand final, 15 metres from goal. And Darren Smith, an experienced player, he won't miss this one.
Very good player, kicked 1 goal in the first term. He will be kicking, as Neville mentioned, from 15 metres out. He has an opportunity to extend his side's lead with his 8th kick. A deliberate shot, takes plenty of time, and he's kicked 2 for the day.
There will Darren Smith. He's 27 years of age. He's in his 199th game for Port Adelaide, and he's booted through 332 goals for them, including this one. What a grab. As I said, you'd be happy to do that in the backyard at home or on the training track, but to actually pull one down in a grand final 15 metres from goal is surely every boy's dream. He's a versatile, mobile big man and a goal-kicking forward.
Port Adelaide eke out a 27-point advantage, the biggest for the game, 10-3 to 5-6. The moment of truth right now for the Bays. They need the next goal. Chalmers thumps it. Quickly in there as Jamieson had an airy. Kretschmer can't get rid of it. Play on is the call. Working hard, Setri, he couldn't find it. Mansell again. But the umpire's picked up a free kick and it's going to Nathan Buckley. Port Adelaide in control by 21 points at half-time. 14 kicks to Buckley, drives in long. Hodges underneath the football. Play on is the call. Quickly now into the open goal goes Borlase. Oh gee, that's a problem. Borlase kicks his first, and Port Adelaide scoot away.
Well, Borlase, he's not short of experience either. The ball came in beautifully from Buckley. He's in his 118th game, and he's no foreigner to kicking goals. He has 118 goals with this one. He's an opportunist forward pocket or half forward. He spent a bit of time off the ground in the first quarter, but he read the crumb beautifully there. He's been pretty well looked after today by Duthie. He managed to slip away on that occasion, and as I said, the challenge firmly in Glenelg's feet, but they're just unable to do anything about it at the moment. And the dejected Scott Salisbury and Alan Bartlett.
Alan Bartlett yet to get a run. Port Adelaide lead 11-3, Glenelg 5-6. So it really is crunch time for the Tigers, and I'm not sure if they're equal to the challenge as the ball socket off the ground. It goes out in the direction of Phillips. Well, Murphy hasn't done a lot, nor has Phillips. He just seems to negate his opponents nowadays as Murphy gets into the action. Foster harassing, and the ball eventually over the boundary line. And it could be a very big day for the Borlase family. Daryl Borlase's wife, Jenny, currently playing in the Australian Netball Championships in Tasmania, where South Australia are in the final against New South Wales. And that'll be just as tough as this encounter as Chalmers puts the punch away over towards Smith. Ian Turn out to Phillips. Great presence of mind then just to kick that mid-air. Loose ball, Robbie Thompson jams it on the left boot, puts it out wide. Difficult to mark overhead now as Hallahan experienced. Foster gets it out to Rosonico. He's been quiet. Murphy slips over. Jamieson has it. The handball was absolutely atrocious. Put Chigwidden under enormous pressure. He threw it. Should have been penalised. Not seen by the umpire. Northeast goes off the ground. Now flicked out by Abernathy. Rowan Smith waited. He measured the situation. That was a cool piece of play. Now it goes back to Abba again, courtesy of Brown, and underneath it is Setri, couldn't take it. Visca's been quiet, applies the tackle. Smith in there, had 2 to beat, did it brilliantly. Now he's going to kick from 40 metres out. Where's it go? It goes through the middle, and Darren Smith has kicked 3.
What a super performance from Darren Smith. I thought he was well held in that first quarter, not so much in the second, but didn't do a lot of damage. Have a look at this. He breaks the tackle on Seabohm, runs over 50, dummies the handball, used his 10 metres to perfection, and then just let fly. As I said, the breeze is stopped to nothing here at Football Park. There's no advantage at all or disadvantage, and that was a cool piece of work from the experienced half forward.
Well, the Magpies now by 39 points as the rain continues to tumble down here at Footy Park. Christie thumps the ball to the half-forward line. The Bays are non-existent in that spot at the moment. Off the ground, it's difficult to pick up that football. Foster goes out wide, well played by Rubenik. He's lost the football now. They go into attack through Kretschmer. Out wide, Chigwidden. The Bays have got a chance now. Fidge went off, then lost his footing in short. Murphy takes a good mark with the slippery ball. Fidge. Good lead, got the football, the umpire didn't play it. Little bit disappointing for the Bay supporters as Ginniver comes out with a football. Well done there by Thompson. Now it's Hutton, comes away. Port Adelaide into attack. Smith out in front of Seabohm. Off goes Hodges on his lead. Put out beautifully, Scotty Hodges. Well, Port Adelaide in full flight now. The Magpies' feathers are really flying, and Hodges will shoot from 35, 40 metres out.
Well, the Tigers have lost the plot here at the moment. They're not putting any pressure on players down the field, and that's just how Scotty Hodges like them.
Hodges, little or no breeze, it's just a slippery ball, not a bad looking kick. Goal number 4.
Well, Scotty Hodges, as I said, the Port Adelaide machine just not under enough pressure midfield. Smith received the ball on a lead. Seabohm couldn't do anything about that, and Rouvray similarly could do absolutely little about that particular kick to Scotty Hodges. He's an expert in front of goal, an absolute master, and he loves these games, doing it brilliantly, and that is 5th goal.
Scott Hodges has kicked 5 goals from 5 kicks. Port Adelaide lead 13-3, and Glenelg are on 5-6, and they've got some credibility to look after here, even if they can't win the game. There's still plenty of time, but they want to start doing something pretty quickly as Fidge puts it out with some clever work to find Seabohm, and it appears a move has been made. Seabohm may be playing at centre-half forward now. Murphy has gone back to Darren Smith, so the move has been made. Kick number 5 for Seabohm. He has played as a full forward. He's no stranger to kicking goals, but as far as this afternoon is concerned, they're a little foreign to him. A point that is not what the Tigers want at the moment. We're 13 minutes into the 3rd term.
The balance of the Glenelg side upset because of the dominance of Darren Smith, and now Kim Hodgman virtually willing to try anything as he's in all sorts of strife here at Footy Park.
He certainly is. Can't get any ascendancy across centre at all. Delaney gets it back from northeast, goes in short. Brown. Delaney butters up again. Lost the handle on that occasion. In goes Marshall off the ground. Northeast against Fidge. Fidge did it well. Mansell, point blank range. Great tackle then by Northeast. Just edged the ball off. Abernethy gets it out in front of Brown. That's a fine pick-up with a wet leather. Slips it over to Fajarchi. He's got nowhere to kick. He's going to get run down. Lost the football. Seabohm hasn't got it, and the umpire's going to give him a free kick. Well, it's difficult out there. No question about that. Seabohm can't make the distance. He's 60 metres out, and we've got a little bit of a yike going on over in the left forward pocket. Should warm the players up if nothing else. Seabohm will come in short, looking for and finding Rubenik, but I still don't think he can make the distance from the 50-metre mark, such is the state of the ball. And the rain still tumbles down. Fidge gives a lead, but aborts. Well, that gives you an indication of just how bad it is out there. When Rubenik went to kick, he just slipped straight off the ball. Zonico got it back. In comes Visca towards the half-forward line. Marshall searching for it. Puts it up for Kretschmer. Gee, it's not a good handball. And finally, Abbott takes it off him.
Abbott kicks long. Port Adelaide in total control at the moment. This man's tried hard in McKay. But you can just tell now, the Port machine, they've lifted a gear or two. They're in total control of this game, and they're just dictating the state of play.
And just a couple of occasions back there where Glenelg players just gave up the ball far too easily to a tougher Port Adelaide.
Buckley over the top. He'd be thoroughly enjoying this season. Somewhat of an understatement. The football club's chasing him from all over Australia. He's won a Magarey medal, and he's well on the way to winning a premiership flag. So just a fairly tidy year for the youngster.
You'd have to say he's best on ground to date, and with a real chance of the Jack Oatey medal today, Kim.
No question. The ball is socket off the ground. Borlase has it. Port Adelaide players everywhere. He didn't give it. Oh, that's not good play by Daryl Borlase. Had Setri there, had Hutton. They were loose. They could have run the ball down, and he ignored the options.
Oh, and he also had Hodges on a lead. He was 20 metres clear of Rouvray, and I think you'd see Rouvray's heart pounding under his jumper. He was so happy he didn't give it to him.
Hodges tries to hook it back. Brown in the action quickly. He'll need support from there. Gets it from Buckley. Standing start. Shoots towards goal. Don't tell me he's done it again. Oh, what a sensational goal. Buckley boots his second, and Port Adelaide on fire.
Well, Nathan Buckley, I mean, he's only playing his 36th game for the club. He's already represented the state, and he's kicked something like 44 goals with this one. That's just an indication of the class that oozes out of this player. He is an absolute perfectionist when it comes to his own game. He's a real athlete, and have a look at that. Delighted with himself.
And had every reason to feel that way. The ball's tapped back towards Abernathy. I'll tell you what Abba's getting into the game in this third term. He's had 14 kicks and 1 handball as the ball goes out towards Thompson. It's close to the boundary line. And in fact, it has gone over the line. And I can very well understand how Ardrossan had 150 points of rain at 3 p.m. Well, I think we're about to match that. It is absolutely bucketing down here at Football Park at the moment. What incredible turnaround. 22.5 degrees when the game started. As Murphy gets a kick away. A little hard to see on the outer side. Abernathy was up. In there is Foster. He's tackled. Still has the football. But umpire Kevin Chambers decides to ball up. I dare say he will ball up and not bounce. He just tests the ground there. We'll see what he does.
And for viewers who don't live in Adelaide and even out of this country, this particular state has had something like 11 odd inches of rain in the last 4 weeks, which is half our rainfall that we expect for the year.
Biaggi gets the kick away, puts it up high. Port Adelaide just attacking incessantly at the moment. The ball now goes down towards Murphy. Mark Williams been very quiet playing, perhaps his last game for Port Adelaide, but he's in there fighting and trying. And whilst he's not getting a lot of the football, he's had a lot to say to the umpires, but I can assure you he would also be giving plenty of encouragement to his teammates.
Going to be most difficult, Neville, for Port Adelaide, Glenelg to get back in this game. 9 goals down in this weather, and you've got a humongous problem.
Well, it's not even a possibility, not when you're playing Port Adelaide. If they were playing an inexperienced side, maybe you could expect them to go off the boil a little bit, but Port Adelaide will treat this game like a vice, and they will just keep tightening the handle.
Well, what happens now to Graham Corn's comment after the 1990 grand final when he stated that Port Adelaide would never defeat the Tigers in a grand final again?
I don't think he'd like to be reminded right now. Visca, lost a footy. That's the problem. It's so hard or so easy to do. Finally, McKay comes away with a football to the outer side. Foster's out there, well shepherded by Abernathy. Foster again, he lost the football, and the ball is out of play.
Well, just on that, Daisy, I'll give Graham Corns an out clause. He may have meant under his coaching.
There's no doubt that he meant that, but you've still got to give Port Adelaide absolute credit. I mean, they've kicked 6 goals in these conditions, and Glenelg have only managed 1. There's no advantage or disadvantage with this breeze, so just a superior effort in tough conditions.
Certainly is. 19 points down 1 minute into the second quarter. They now lead by 50, and they go into attack again. Fiachi getting underneath the ball is a very dishevelled looking Visca. He lost a football. Off the deck goes Setri, can't make it. Quickly Rouvray, Setri, Duthie. Into the action comes Borlase, but the umpire will ball it up. No correction, it's gone out of play on the left full forward pocket.
And this weather won't ease up, Ian, and the players are just going to have to play it out. But as I said earlier, Port Adelaide, they certainly won't give up this in these conditions.
Lyndon Bowe goes for a spell. Robbie Thompson off the turf. Only back as far as Brown. He can't find his feet either. Slips it across. Hutton through. Can he grab it? Lost his footing. Oh, they go into the pocket. It's super hard out there. Well done, Hutton, to give a chance to Buckley. Buckley hooks, but he doesn't hook far enough. Searching for it out there is Smith. He can't keep it in play. And another throw in Port Adelaide's full forward right pocket.
And just for a fleeting moment there, I thought Nathan Buckley may perform the impossible again. He's kicked 2-2 and one out on the full. We're live at Football Park on Nine's Wide World of Sports, and this game had been touted as perhaps one of the best grand finals one may ever experience. Certainly not turning out that way. This methodical, business-like Port Adelaide side just tearing Glenelg apart.
We had a bit of an audio problem. We apologise for that. It's the storm overhead, of course. It's providing a lot of problems. We're getting lightning down here at the moment. Hopefully we'll stay on air. Down goes Robbie Thompson. The umpire says play on. Nathan Buckley across the ball A's. Smith back to ball A's and a double play. Out goes Hodges, but geez, on a pair of skates. He just simply couldn't stop. One-on-one, Rouvray and Hodges as they go to the line. Down they go. Ball still in play. Kretschmer's sandwich. Away comes Rouvray. Not a lot to kick to as he chips out the pass short. They're looking very dishevelled indeed. Murphy gives it away to Seabone. Thought about Hallahan, who's died out of the game, but a lot of Bay players have. On the other side, up goes Abba. Gives a chance, Rowan Smith. Buckley's 40 metres out on his own. If Abba wants to give it to him, he draws the player, but goes in long, in towards full forward. Almost a mark by Williams, off the deck, McKay. Kretschmer goes down, great tackle. Murphy in the action, gives it away now to Duthie. He can't find it either. And it's finally Thompson who gives it away. Or was it Visca? Gee, they look pretty dim out there now. They go into attack, up towards the half-forward line. The Bays desperately need a goal. That's the understatement of the year. We apologise, we're having all sorts of problems up here in the commentary box. The next we'll need will be an arc. We might even have to float out of here, and a few of the spectators with us. A throw in left full forward pocket. 14-3 to 5-7. It's even hard to see the scoreboard, and gee, the supporters have stayed through this. Unbelievable support. They'd have to be Port Adelaide supporters. Rosonico kicks across goal. Fidge can't. Delaney can as he chips out the pass. Oh, misdirected to Marshall, who did a Tom and Jerry and lost the footing. Off goes Buckley. Has the arrogance to bounce the football or make that the skill. 18 kicks. Duthie comes to meet it. Has to work hard for this one. Setri in there. Now Marshall again. Through goes Buckley. Kretschmer. Now Fiachi. Fiachi on the left leg. Heaves it towards the half-forward line. McKay and Williams. Down they go. And the umpire's going to give them a free kick.
Quite incredible. I'm trying to look at the scoreboard. I think we're at the 23-minute mark. John Cale, he's down in the bunker now. He has the shirt on. It's not cold here at Football Park. It's just damn wet. Incredible. If anyone's got Noah's phone number, give him a ring because he can start building another arc. As Northeast gets a wobbly kick away, but he gets plenty of distance. McKay couldn't control it. He'd have to be perhaps amongst Glenelg's best players. Loose ball taken by Setri. They're loving this Port Adelaide. Hodges! He's got it.
Well, that's a great catch in these circumstances, and you're right, Kim. Port Adelaide love these conditions. Have a look at that. And I said earlier that Scott Hodges has earned all his goals today. Nothing over the top, no easy business. And he's had some critics in the past that he needs to get the ball out in front of him and on a lead. But he's gone back to basics today in tough conditions. He's toughed it out on the contest in front, and he's earned every kick and every goal.
He's had 5 kicks, he's kicked 5 goals, he's had now 6 kicks and he's kicked 6 goals, and the Magpies go from strength to strength in the 1992 Grand Final. What an awesome performance.
Kept absolutely goalless for the first term by Rouvray, and a good display. The carrier there was Setri, and just as I said, playing in front, basics, nothing tricky, He knew the ball would come in rough and slippery, and he took a great mark on his chest. Very difficult conditions. He's kicked 3 in the second quarter and 3 in the third for a total of 6. A match-winning performance.
Certainly is. 15-3 plays 5-7. Port Adelaide by 56 points. Salisbury kicks down looking for Jamison. With him out there is Rosonico. Back in defence northeast towards Rowan Smith. Salisbury well played. Jamison tries to get a kick away. In goes northeast. Salisbury comes out with a football, but umpire Michael Abbott will have to ball it up on the half-forward line. The umpire's got a super hard job to do now. It's very difficult to find the ball. They're going to have to change their style of umpiring. Chalmers towards the line. Rubenek, Abernethy, Hallahan, Rowan Smith. Oh, and just have a look at that rain bucket down. Lamb gives it away now. Hallahan boots it in towards the half-forward line. Phillips against Fidge. Rosonico taps it out looking for Delaney. If he grabs it, he'll be okay, and he kicks Port Adelaide back towards centre wing.
I cannot believe this rain. That's a very good mark there by Robbie Thompson. Overhead, we won't see too many overhead grabs now given these conditions. Have a look at that. 10 kicks for Thompson, 4 handballs. It is bucketing down here at Football Park as Mansell, who started off sensationally. Have a look at that. 18 kicks and 7 handballs for Mansell. As Ian Day mentioned, we will float out of Football Park. Commiserations to those who have their deck chairs out in the car park with the barbecue and the esky. That's what they were doing prior to the start of the game. Big leap at the back of the pack came from Seabone. Going to ground is Rosonico. Lamb off the ground. There's a goal. Christie thought about getting excited, then realised how far they trail in this game.
And that's not a bad effort from Clayton Lamb. He has 2 points to date and featured early, as we said earlier, an opportunist half forward, and that's the best way to get them in these conditions. But I still feel that from a scoreboard point of view, these next few minutes of this quarter and the last quarter were very interesting from Kim Hodgman's point of view, because the conditions are the same out there for both players. It's simply a matter of determination, aggression and willpower at the moment.
15-3 plays 6-7. Marshall towards the half-forward line. Chigwidden. Seabone well done. Great tackle there by Phillips. Allows Rowan Smith through. Out wide again is Buckley. Buckley sells the dummy, sells it twice, gets the kick away. On the fly now is Brown. Half-forward line. Port Adelaide into attack again. Setri short, but he's going in longer, looking for Hodges. Thompson back in defence. And, or is it Duthie? Let's have a look at him. He looks pretty... Thompson it is. They all look fairly dishevelled with the rain making a mess of their hair. And that was a good mark with that heavy ball. Floats it back towards the half-forward line. Off the fingers. Rosonico up at centre wing at the moment. Duthie. Ball A's. Thompson. It's hard work out there, I can tell you. And finally it comes out to Brown again. He puts it up. Hodges can't quite get there. Gee, there's water coming up. Slips it out to Buckley. Buckley towards goal. And the kick is a shocker. Gee, well, even Buckley can't kick them at the moment. And I don't think anyone was more surprised than Rouvray when he took the mark.
It was Murphy, in fact. You're right, Daisy. As the ball goes out, Christie is there. Hallahan gets in there. And what would be going through the minds of some of these Tiger players at the moment?
Well, I think they'd just be remembering, particularly the Marshalls and Seabones and company, of all the grand finals they've been in, and just how many they've lost. Only 4 in the history of the club. 2 of them 84-85 under Corns, but they just cannot beat this Magpie side.
Well, there's not a lot they can do except keep their body over the ball and keep trying and walk out with their head high, because they're going to be beaten today. And they're going to be beaten badly by the look of it. Jamison in there. They're still having a go as the handball goes out towards Murphy. He's waiting for some movement. Eventually drops in a short pass. Perhaps not the best option, but no one was moving. In there is Buckley. He dived in there. He may have copped one high. He's down on the ground. And he's up again. So the youngster's okay. He's had a big day. Kicked 2 goals. He's had 20 kicks. And only 1 handball. But he doesn't give the statisticians too much work as far as handballs are concerned. But when you're as skillful as him, you normally can get the kick away.
There's not too many teammates can actually run off him. He usually runs past them.
Yeah, fair point. We're well into time on. We're at the 29-minute mark as the ball goes up towards centre-half forward for the Tigers. It's fisted away, picked up by Mansell. One gets the feeling a lot of these players didn't pack 2 pairs of boots today. They may not have heard the weather report. There was always going to be rain late this afternoon or this evening. as the ball is over the boundary line. And the golden rule for all those youngsters, you take your moulded soles and your screw-ins, and that's what would be required at the moment, the old screw-in sprints. 43 plays 93. The Pies lead by 50 points. Fist away by Chalmers. Ball goes out towards Lamb, can't control it. Norkin Williams, he's still in there, and the boundary line wins out once more.
Close to three-quarter time, 15-3 to 6-7. Can you believe that Port Adelaide have kicked 15 goals, 3 in this weather? Unbelievable accuracy. As the boys have told you, Scott Hodges, 6 kicks and 6 goals. Rowan Smith back towards the half-back line. I think the umpire's going to give a free kick there. And that'll go the way of the Bays' Graham Christie. Almost 30 minutes gone. Looks horribly bleak out there. 7th kick to Christie. Chalmers has had his measure on the day, but Christie's done some useful work. The Bays have simply just been not in the event at any stage. Out goes Lamb. Siren sounds, and at three-quarter time, it's Port Adelaide by 50 points.
Well, it's been a very disappointing quarter for the Tigers, but for Port Adelaide, 7 goals without a miss. They added from their 21-point advantage at half-time, and Glenelg only managed to kick a couple, and that was Clayton Lamb and John Fidge. I think the disappointing thing from Kim Hodgman's point of view is that with the rain and the difficult conditions, it really didn't come back to height or pace or power. It really came back to desire, and Port Adelaide have just stripped Glenelg of all of that.
So at three-quarter time, Port Adelaide in command here and in control on 15 goals, 3, 93 over the Tigers on 6-7, 43. We'll be back to see what the final term holds for us then.
(15-3 to 6-7). Kim Hodges didn't waste a lot of time out there at three-quarter time. I don't know what he could say. The final quarter, Port Adelaide by 50 points. They kicked a marvellous 7 goals without a miss in that rain bucketing down in the third quarter. So that's super footy. Chigwidden gives it away to Kretschmer. Thompson off the side of his boot somewhat, but finds Mansell, and the umpire is not going to pay the mark. It must have been smothered, and they're going to ball it up centre field. I'll go to Neville. What would have Kim Hodgman said to the players at three-quarter time when you're in for a belting or hiding to nothing?
Well, I think he would have been pretty critical of their effort and endurance and just commitment of the footy, but more than anything, just for pride, outscore them in the final quarter.
Getting underneath the football up there. Fidge can't take it at the bottom of the pack. Is Hallahan, and the umpire will ball up inside 50.
I know that a couple of coaches have been known to say things about what you remember in grand finals is how you pick your side for the next season, and it's very true of players who really it shows the character and the courage of players to see how they finish these games off.
Kretschmer, Hallahan, certainly the Bays' best players have been their smaller ones. Kretschmer comes into the action, tumbles one in towards the half-forward line. Fidge behind the pack, tries to get it away. Delaney's there, Rosonico over the top, and the umpire says throw it in adjacent to the behind post. No question, Mansell and Hallahan have probably been the two best for the Bays, and McKay has done some very useful work on the half-back line. Chalmers gives it away now to Geneva. Foster it was, looking dishevelled out towards centre wing. Setri with a chance. He goes to the line, with him is Bow. Well, that's a lot of courage. Visca it was. Now Setri kicks it out of play, and that's out on the full.
Well, I don't know whether it, in actual fact it was. I thought it went along the ground, but certainly the Port Adelaide small men doing a lot more than the Mansells and Chigwidden in focus at the moment. They've simply been outplayed in this last couple of quarters.
As Marshall gets a kick away, he's been fairly quiet this afternoon. He was thrashed in the first term. He's picked up 10 kicks as Abernathy tried to crash his way through. It's taken by Chigwidden. The handball out to Hallahan. He was under pressure when receiving the ball. Phillips couldn't get down to it, but little George is there to help him out. And likewise Roger. They're never far away from each other. And Roger Delaney clears with a mammoth kick to the outer side. Bartlett's onto the ground. Loose ball. Who'll be there first? Picked up by Kretschmer. Thought about a couple of options. Now decides to kick. I think he'll kick anyway. Eventually drives it in long. Lamb is there, and he couldn't take the mark. Play on the call. It's a race for pace between Phillips and Fidge. And Big Coochie. Well, the ball's not out. I think Coochie won that one.
And it's worth mentioning Greg Phillips' age and legs and inability to run quickly were mentioned today, but it hasn't been a factor. The 33-year-old, he stands 188 centimetres tall and 91 kgs. He really reads everything beautifully, and he certainly have done his job today.
Have a look at that. The rain continues to come down at Footy Park, and I think we're in for more yet. At the throw-in, over the top, Chalmers only as far as Rubenik, smothered. Fiacci's going to have to work hard against Hallahan. That's holding the ball, but the umpire didn't see it, and you can't guess them. Not if you're an umpire of Michael Abbott's class. A throw-in, left full forward pocket. John Cahill sitting down in the bunker. I think he's probably as relaxed as John Cahill can be when he's coaching. As I've said many times, he seems to age before your eyes. Salisbury through. With him is Geneva. Back in defence, it's Rosonico. Heaves it back towards the half-back line. Thompson's up there. Christie's going to have to work a gallop. Abernethy, Mansell, Rubenik. Gee, it's hard work to try to pick up the football. Seabohm gets it across to Marshall. Still can't get a clear kick away. Salisbury at the bottom of the pack. Marshall off the desk. Arms and legs everywhere. And what does an umpire do when there's all that around? He's just got to bounce the football.
And it looks like Danny Hughes might get a run to the applause of the Port Adelaide people, but Glenelg really making a commitment now, a bigger commitment than they made in that third term. And Nathan Buckley seems to be carrying an injury in the lower region, Kim.
Test of strength there. Fidge did it well. There's the soccer, and Fidge bangs through his fourth goal. He outbodied Delaney then, had the loose ball and banged it through. And Delaney points to the scoreboard, and I think John told him he wasn't all impressed by that comment. Nevertheless, Fidge has done pretty well today.
Yes, he's playing his 52nd game with the Tigers, and that was his 256th goal. So 26-year-old forward has been a vocal point for Glenelg, and was shouldered with the responsibility of almost winning this grand final single-handedly.
At the bounce, it is Hughes gets the tap away. Mansell to the outer side. McKay's going to be first there as Hutton goes in pursuit. McKay off the deck. In towards Lamb. Lamb will need running support from there. No, gets around. Goes to the half-forward line and finds John Seabohm, who, as Kim told you, has gone to centre-half forward. Intercepted by Buckley. It was meant for Rubenik. Buckley did it again. He seemed to be over his injury. Down on the lower part of the stomach. Wouldn't have been all that handy. 21 kicks. Bartlett. Raises a gallop. Comes off the half-back line. Drives halfway up towards the half-forward line. Fiacci can't find it. Chigwidden and Fiacci. And the umpire's got to ball it up. It's going to be a long last quarter for the Bay supporters. If they're still here, of course. Most of them would be. 15-3 to 7-7. I won't say they get used to getting beaten by Port Adelaide, but they've had a bit of practice at it in grand finals. And for what it's worth, a side who's down at half-time hasn't won the grand final since 1978. Hardly a stat that's applicable today, but it is a stat. Williams can't get it through. Jamieson looks for it, and the umpire once again will have to ball it up.
We've had just over 6 minutes of the final term. That youngster looking a little wet. Doesn't look that happy at the moment. So I would suggest he supports the Tigers. As the ball is punched wide, and Northeast punches it wider, it goes out towards Abernethy. Kretschmer is there, close to the boundary line, right in front of that West End super sign. Not a bad drop, and I would imagine quite a deal of that will be consumed this evening by players from both sides.
Done by you and me with a bit of luck, Kim, but the stats to three-quarter time, 218 possessions each, so Glenelg have had as much of the football as Port Adelaide, just simply unable to use it as effectively, and 18 shots at goal to 14, so Miles, there's almost 50 points between them. There's only 5 shots at goal, so you've got to give credit where it's due. Port Adelaide much more efficient and decisive when they've got the ball.
And Ginniver's got it at the moment as he puts his side forward. It goes out towards Borlase, but once again the boundary line wins out. I mentioned before, Daisy, in 1990 in the grand final between these two sides, Hodges kicked 6-5. Well, he already has 6 today, and in that other grand final, as I mentioned, 1990, Fidge kicked 5-3. Well, he's kicked 4-3 so far.
Hodges has done extremely well. I still can't believe that Port Adelaide can kick 15 goals, 3 in this weather. Superb kicking. Thompson gets it back towards the half-back line. Northeast can't. Clayton Lamb can. He drives long up towards Delaney. and that's a fine defensive mark. He'll play on. Rowan Smith provides the run out at centre wing. Well put. He'll also play on now, looking for an option. Brown's in the pocket, and Port Adelaide can do no wrong. The way they're playing, you think they'd have webbed feet. They just seem to be gliding over the turf, and Brown will shoot from about 30.
Well, they look like they turned the sprinklers on at Alberton during the week, as you said, Daisy, doing it pretty easy at the moment in difficult conditions.
8 kicks, 8 handballs to David Brown, and he's just put another nail in.
Great piece of work on that occasion by David Brown, but I think the credit has to go to Rowan Smith. Good work by Delaney to meet the ball, but have a look at this kick by Rowan Smith. Good chest mark, plays on. This is the Port Adelaide arrogance I talked about earlier when they're in control. Have a look at the kick. Absolutely beautiful in terms of distance and height, and Brown, no problems to post his first goal.
Port Adelaide 16-3, Glenelg 7-7, so it's still a 50-point advantage at the 9-minute mark to the Magpies. I'm not sure, I think it's their 31st premiership this will be, as Bartlett kicks out wide. Gee, that's not bad. My poor old Eagles, I think they've got 3, I stand corrected. Might be 4. I know our last one was in 1953. Glenelg only have 4, so you cannot question the fact that Port Adelaide, if anyone ever did, have been South Australia's premier football club. As a Glenelg player slips over, the ball now goes out towards Rubenik. Thought about feeding off, decides to dispose of the ball with a kick out wide to Marshall. He thought about a handball, chips out a short pass, and Lamb drops it. Isn't that a big day, Clayton Lamb? As North East punches the ball forward, and it goes out towards Mansell. He's tried hard. Recruited from Panola. A cheerio to our viewers down in Mount Gambier with SES 8, as Hughes went through solidly, and Fidge falls on top of Hughes, and those two exchanged pleasantries in round 17, and Danny Hughes came out of it second best.
And John Carl, over 13 years, has been in 8 grand finals. He's won 7, lost 1, and you can add another one today.
Certainly a marvellous record. Lamb in towards the forward pocket. Delaney's got plenty of time. Fidge there with him, and the ball is out of play on the left full forward pocket. The forlorn scene in the Bay bunker. Not a lot to get excited about. 10 metres around from the behind post. Rowan Smith, the running player is northeast. Back towards centre field. Ball A, he's tried to get it out, or Hutton it was off the deck. He's going to get a free kick. Hasn't had a big afternoon, David Hutton. 8 kicks and 1 handball. This man has a brilliant afternoon. That must be well up, if not a lay-down misère for the medal, as he drives up towards the half-forward line. Over the back now, it's Duthie. Duthie goes for the safety of the line. Bartlett's got a lumber after it. Quickly in was Smith, but I don't think Bartlett was too worried about whether he kept it in play or not.
And Port Adelaide have a phenomenal record in the SANFL since 1897. The number of times they've finished further down the list than 5th, you could count on one hand. And I think at the moment, John Carl probably chasing Foss Williams' record over 21 years as coach. He won 10 premierships and only lost 7, but he finished 3rd 3 times as well, and 6th once. So an incredible performance by Port Adelaide as Jamison leaves the ground.
Lyndon Bowe back onto the arena. We know that Jamison has been very ill in recent weeks with a severe bout of the flu. Does look a little bit thinner. It was reported he lost about a stone. It's a lot of weight if it's true, as the handball goes out towards Mansell. Mansell kicks wide and in turn puts it out to Rubenik, who's tried hard against Rowan Smith. We'll get the stats on those two players. Rubenik's had 10 and 7. Smith 7 and 8. Perhaps 11 and 8, I should say, so pretty even on that wing. As Duthie puts it in, and the mark's been taken there by Abernathy. These Port boys are going to enjoy tonight. Greg Phillips, Mark Williams certainly playing his last game. He'll give the old Coca-Cola a hiding. 16 kicks for Abbott. Not his best one. Went straight back to Rubenik. Has to get around Buckley. Did it quite well. Drops in a short pass to find Mansell. As I said, he's tried hard, Mansell. We're at the 12.5-minute mark. Mansell with kick number 23. Picks out big Coochie Phillips. I tell you, the Lighthouse Hotel will do a roaring trade for the next couple of weeks as he handballs out towards Delaney.
Hutton's out there. With him is Visca. And I think he's given away a free kick. David Hutton comes back centre field. Ball A's. Port Adelaide into attack again. Now, who will he look for? Off goes Mark Williams. Hodges doesn't bother to give a lead. Ball A's goes to the outer side to give Darren Smith the run of the football, who needs support from there as Bartlett closes. But he takes the ball out of play in that spot.
Simply going through the motions now, Glenelg, but certainly they're committed. They're still playing hard football, but in their minds they know they're beaten, and that's a very hard thing to do.
Still, Port Adelaide hasn't kicked a point until the early part of the second quarter. Even in these conditions, Ball A's can't. Seabohm off the turf. Quickly in Rubenik. Just as quickly he went out. Lamb under pressure. Port Adelaide have been superb in the tackling department this afternoon. Fiachi goes out. Rubenik comes out with a football. Now what can the Bay set up? Out wide, he gets a lead. That's beautifully put and finds Salisbury. Oh, Scooter runs on and runs into trouble, and he's asked to play on. Foster. Brazonico. Northeast. Hard to pick them up out there. Abba. Well, these fellows have all played in Melbourne, so they'll be used to these conditions. Brown slips it back now to Abba, who kicks to the half-forward line. Out there is Geneva. Close to the line. Will he keep it in? No, he can't, and it's a throw-in on the half-forward left flank for Port Adelaide.
I cannot believe in these conditions that Port Adelaide have not kicked a point since the early stages of the second quarter. So that is nearly 2.5 quarters of football. They've only kicked 3 points for the game.
Yes, and they've managed to add something like 8 straight goals since their last point. An incredible effort and very accurate.
And have a look at that. Mansell then, he was gone for all money. Wasn't a vigorous attempt to get rid of the ball, and Williams knew that, got the free kick, and he's popped in the pass to find David Hutton. One of the true gentlemen of the game. Stephen Williams started off very scratchy. He was banished to the bench. He's about to come back out onto the oval. Mark Williams. Oh, Fiachi looking very proppy. The 1990 Jack Oatey medalist. Fiachi leaves the ground for Stephen Williams. Hutton slipped over as he disposed of the football. And a free kick's been picked out and will go the way of Paul Rouvray. And Fiachi not looking good.
No, he looks like it looks like it's cramp. It doesn't look like the sort of injury that he's protecting. It's either set in or it's a knee or an ankle. But anyway, George can soak up the glory now. They've got another one.
I reckon the rot's probably set in this weather. David Brown off the side of his boot. Rouvray comes to meet it. Should clear. Great shepherding by Bartlett at the back. Puts it out in front of Rubenik, who's really fought hard. He's going to run a dead heat. In goes Foster. Rubenik stood his ground and the ball is out of play. Not sure whether George has very badly pulled a hamstring. He looked like he was walking with cramp, but he might have just gone off because, well, they're not in any danger at the moment. Hallahan off the side of his boot. 17th kick goes to the half-forward line. Bow over the top of Stephen Williams, and the umpire will bounce at centre wing.
Well, I guess we have to spare a thought for Scotty Salisbury, 34 years of age. He's calling it a day after 241 games for the Tiger. He's been an inspiration at times, suffered a lot of injuries, and been a state player with a lot of pride.
Out of play on the half-forward line. When you're looking for excuses for the Bays, and certainly it's hard to find any, but when that gusty wind blew up late in that third quarter, it really blew hard before the storm set in. Port Adelaide got 3 or 4 valuable goals into time on. The Bays couldn't even get the ball above ground level when they went into attack, and of course then the rain came, and Port Adelaide simply has been too strong, too brilliant in these conditions. Salisbury looks for it, and Hughes puts it out of play.
Nearly 17 minutes into the final term. Port Adelaide 16-3, Glenelg 7-7. Not a lot can be said about the Tigers. You must just compliment the marvellous effort that these Port boys have put in, and also the coaching staff. As the ball goes down towards Geneva, quick kick away. They are such a tight unit. They are a dead set family down at Alberton, and let's hope John Seabohn's not too badly hurt there. He hasn't hardly moved at all, and it could be his last game, and it would be tragic to cop an injury. Annie Hughes apparently went through pretty solidly, and Seabohm was on the end of it. So he's up and running, but I'm not sure if he knows where he's running. He's more or less going around in circles, John Seabohm, as Northeast comes out with the football, and Stephen Williams takes a mark, and John Seabohm looks very disorientated at the moment. I'm not sure who he has to pick up. Let's hope he's okay. It may be best to get him off the ground. I don't think he'll want to come off, though. Very proud man. He's been a fantastic footballer, recruited from Mount Burr. The ball hits the ground. McKay is there. He comes from Lucendale. Darren Smith. Number of country players out there. And there's Siebes, looking a little nonplussed at the moment.
I'm sure he's had some belts around the head before, or not that I'm suggesting that was what happened there, but that body's taken some punishment in its time. But the real secret to Port, other than I guess Scott Hodges' great performance, has been their half-back line and their defence generally. It's been absolutely impervious today.
42,242 people have come to Footy Park to see Port Adelaide win the 1992 Grand Final. Salisbury got leg, but got out of it pretty well. Slips it over now to Seabohm. Let's see if he can find himself. Looks for Fidge on the lead. Northeast. Delaney will provide the shepherd. Northeast got time to look out wide. Chance for Port to run it out through Borlase. There's no pressure put on him at all as Borlase goes through the centre line, kicks long. Out in front of Abernethy. With him is Duthie. Aber needs support. He goes back to David Hutton in looking for Hodges, but the kick is too far and Rouvray will run out of defence, or he tried to run out. He slipped out of defence but regained his composure well and finds Salisbury, who lost it. Buckley, gee, the water's almost up over their knees. Stephen Williams on the lead now is Smith. He can't find it either and the ball is out of play. Well, this is probably the finest surface in Australia and even that's got water on it.
Well, it started raining just after half-time and it has simply not stopped. It's bucketed down here at Football Park and whilst there's nothing laying around on the surface, the ball is very slippery and the players are finding it very difficult to keep their feet.
Smith did well to hook that one back, but once more the ball is out of play. And we hope our country viewers have enjoyed this game. If you're a Port Adelaide supporter, you certainly would. And those country viewers include SES 8 Mount Gambier, GDS 4 Port Pirie, GDS 5 Port Lincoln, RTS 5A in the Riverland, and BKN 7 at Broken Hill. As the ball is passed out, and what a breeding ground for footballers the country regions have been. As the Tigers go forward again, Phillips back there. Well, he could have taken a specky, but he wanted to thump it towards the boundary line. He missed it. You won't be overly concerned about that. The ball, I thought it may have been out of play. According to the crowd, I think it was. The umpire was caught napping. Seabohm has the football. Plays on. I don't think he's 100% at the moment, John Seabohm. He won't stop trying. Mark Williams has the football. Rubinick from behind. Smith in front. Very clever side, Port Adelaide. Oh, Williams slips over. So too Rubinick. And he gets a free kick for a trip. Plays on quickly with a handball out to Salisbury. Hasn't had a lot of the football. He puts it out wide. 5 kicks, 5 handballs. Fidge falls over. He got rid of Delaney and slipped over himself. And the crowd have given Johnny Fidge a really rough time today as Delaney drops in a short pass and finds Ginniver. Ginniver out to Delaney. The crowd want him to kick a goal. Roger the Dodger. He goes long looking for Hodges. Hodges couldn't get up there in these heavy conditions. Over the top is Christie. Loose ball. It goes out to Rouvray. In turn, the handball finds McKay. McKay with a bit of a worm burner. Puts it out in turn out in the direction of Kretschmer. Fidge is out there. The handball goes to Hallahan. He fumbles. He'll have to go back to Kretschmer, which he does. He takes plenty of time. Puts the ball on the ground. Umpire having a good look there. That's the boundary umpire. Lamb drops one. Hasn't had a big day. The handball now goes in towards Williams. In turn to Delaney. Back towards... who is that? Borlase? It is. And they've been given a free kick. Not a lot in that one. Daisy can't believe it. And I think umpire Michael Abbott was just feeling a little sorry for Scott Salisbury.
Darren Mansell will get a free kick for a push in the back. Purely academic at the moment. And the Daisy that couldn't believe it is the one out there, not the one up here. Darren Mansell to send the Bays into attack. 25 kicks and 11 handballs. He's certainly done his part for the Bays. The umpire said play on northeast. Marshall thought it was the mark, as did Sean Seabohm earlier on. Rouvray. He's done pretty well despite the fact that Hodges has kicked 6 goals. He's had a lot more opportunities. Bow comes off the half-back line, gets it out wide. He got it from Rubinick. Now McKay through. Great smother there by Hughes. Going through Buckley. Now Mark Williams. Out wide his brother Stephen. Rowan Smith the runner. Now he's going to come back inside looking for someone, but no one's available. Visca. Gee, Made hard work of that. Kicks up towards the half-forward line. North-East is up there. No question. Port Adelaide have handled the slippery ball far better than the Bays. Off the side of his boot, Rosonico. He looks clagged out there. He can hardly scratch himself. As Stephen Williams comes back, he's got to have to scratch himself now. Gets another kick. Kicks this one in towards the half-forward line. I can tell you out there, it's absolute dead-set slow motion.
Well, it's almost impossible to keep your feet or change direction if at any one time. But the players, I would be very interested if it was a closer game, how they'd have managed these conditions. But at the moment, Glenelg have kicked 1 goal this quarter and so have Port. So it's been a pretty even contest this quarter.
The ball now taken by Buckley. The handball over the top was an unorthodox one, but it found Abernathy. Abba steadies from about 52 metres out. Hodges the big leap. Had to apply the spoil. Loose ball. Jennifer would like to snap one, and I think he has. Or was it touch? No, it's a goal.
So Timmy Ginnivan, 26 years of age, and he's kicked his 213th goal for the Pies in his 198th game. And he'd be delighted with that. Scotty Hodges brought the ball to ground. He was caught behind, no space to move in. He virtually did a Darryl Hart in that case. Manoeuvred himself in the same turf he was in. He's had 14 kicks and 11 handballs, and well, they're an affectionate lot at Port Adelaide, and of course they enjoyed it.
17-3 to 7-7. Still can't believe it. Still Port Adelaide haven't managed a point since the early part of that second quarter. Christie against Hughes, who gets the tap away. Borlase gets it over to Darren Smith. The runner out there is Browns. Had a good game. Through goes Bartlett's got to go chase it. Stephen Williams will get it there first, and he's quite happy to see it go out on the outer side. Looks like it was just cramp, because George has got a smile on his face, as well he might. Port Adelaide through and through, and what a great player he's been for them over the years. Mark Williams up over the top, but a free has been given to John Seabohm at centre wing. Port Adelaide have had some super players in the wet out there. Ginnivan, Delaney, Chalmers, Hodges, Brown, of course Buckley probably best on ground, and so it goes on. And their defence has stood up remarkably well, and this man who's come in has played a fine game at centre half, or on the half-back flank.
Indeed he has, and Kim Hodgman told me before the game that Tony Simons has retired today, and he announced that to the reserves before the game. So there's the Premiership Cup, and that's exactly what Port Adelaide will receive after the game. But possibly some retirements. Clayton Lamb will have to think about his future. David Marshall might give it away. Chris Duthie, Scott Salisbury for the Tigers, and definitely for Port Adelaide, Mark Williams' last game. Danny Hughes will think about it, and so too will Greg Phillips.
Rowan Smith gave it to David Brown. We're into time on in the 1992 grand final. Christie's tried very hard. He couldn't get down to that one. Setri tried to kick it off the ground. Bartlett's there. He does likewise, more effectively though, and it goes out towards Mansell. So little Nige, recruited from Penola, puts the ball out wide with his 26th kick, and he's been the Tigers' best, I would say. And there'll only be about perhaps 30 seconds to a minute remaining in this final term. We've only had 3 goals kicked, so we'll have to start thinking about the Jack Oatey medalist, and I'd put my money on number 34 for the Magpies.
Oh, well, I think he's as sure as he was of getting the medal, the McGarry medal, of getting the Jack Oatey medal. But whilst we think it's been an absolute slaughter, and I guess the scoreboard says it is, Kim, 56 points, but they've only had something like 6 more shots, and but no more possessions around the ground. So it's a credit to Port Adelaide how they've managed the ball around the field.
Yeah, well, John Cale's mentioned that before. They are constantly outgunned in the handball department, but like he said, they don't mind as long as they win on the scoreboard. And well, they play a very effective, and I suppose you could call it old-fashioned type of game. Let's get the football, give it to someone, and win the game. And that's what they have done in the 1992 grand final. They were far too strong for Glenelg. 17-3 to the Tigers, 7-7.
That would have to be the greatest performance by a Port Adelaide side.
Yes, every grand final is sweet, but I think after last year, to win this year, it was great. A big committed effort, and we worked very hard this year. So
Running the next, it didn't matter.
it didn't matter. No, it didn't matter whether it was windy or wet or dry. We were just totally committed, and old tired legs. I mean, it gives us a lot of pleasure to know that the courageous Mark Williams, Stephen Williams, Greg Phillips, that lack pace, but they put their body over the ball, so I'm really pleased.
We may not see a few of those, John, but they've been fantastic.
I said before the start of the game in the pre-match speech, Rick, that the one thing I spoke to each player individually in the room, and the two things I had to say about Greg Phillips and Mark Williams was that in the future, if they ask me the best teams, those two players will be in my best teams ever.
John, you can never go against Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide against the rest of Australia, they keep on coming up trumps, don't they?
Oh, well, we're pleased, and I'd like to congratulate Glenelg because it's very hard after 6 days, and I know how hard it is, so, you know, they're worthy opponents.
You won't mind getting wet.
No.
Well done, John.
Thanks, Rick.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Football Park, and look at the elation on a number of those players, and we see with the shirt on there Mark Tyler. He'd be very happy for his team, but he must be hurting inside. He kicked 97 goals for the season. He helped his side get there, and he wasn't out there today. And talking of emotion, look at Nathan Buckley. He's overwhelmed at the moment.
Well, he's had an overwhelming season. He's only a youngster, 20 years of age. He got 22 kicks today and 3 handball. He's certainly my pick for the Jack Oatey medal as the crowd go berserk to congratulate the Magpies.
Ladies and gentlemen, the SANFL President, Mr. Max Bashir, will now announce the winner of the 1992 Jack Oatey Medal for the best player in today's grand final. And Mr. Jack Oatey will present the medal to the winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Jack Oatey Medal for the best player in this year's grand final is Nathan Buckley.
Now I've got the mic, I'd just like to thank those blokes there. They're a great bunch of blokes. It's been a hard year, we've worked hard for this, and by God we deserve it. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Bashir now will present the premiership medallions to the Port Adelaide team as they are called up onto the dais. Firstly, number 2 for Port Adelaide, Tim Ginevere. Number 4, George Biacci. Number 5, Bruce Abernethy. Number 7, Roger Delaney. Number 8, Brett Chalmers. Number 9, Mark Williams.
Thanks a lot. Happy birthday, Mark.
Number 10, Stephen Williams. Number 11, Scott Hodges. Number 13, Rowan Smith. Number 16, Darryl Borlase. Number 17, Paul Rosonico. Number 19, Adrian Setri. Number 21, David Brown. Number 25, Danny Hughes. Number 26, Richard Foster. Number 27, David Hutton. Number 28, Darren Smith. Number 32, Paul Northeast. Number 34.
We're back at number one.
Number 1, Greg Phillips, captain of Port Adelaide. And the coach of the 1992 Premiers, John Cahill.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I present the Thomas Seymour Hill Cup, may I say that this match brings to an end another outstanding season for the South Australian National Football League. When the Adelaide Football Club entered a team into the AFL competition 2 years ago, we decided that we would make our competition the next best competition to the AFL, and that our league would be the best state league in Australia. We believe that in 1992 we've gone a long way towards proving that, because our Till Cup side were runners-up in the championships. We defeated Western Australia here, and we won the State of Origin match here against Victoria. I congratulate both Glenelg and Port Adelaide on reaching the finals, and Port Adelaide deserved their win. They're an outstanding team, and congratulations to Port Adelaide Football Club. I have much pleasure in presenting the Thomas Seymour Hill Cup to Greg Phillips, the captain of Port Adelaide.
Let's go and do a lap. Fuck it.
I must back up the words of Nathan Buckley. The boys have worked tremendously hard this year to redeem themselves from the last year. We were disappointed, but with all the training staff, John Cale, all the committee, everyone involved at the Port Adelaide Football Club and the supporters, we're thankful for your support throughout the year, and this is yours. You're a beauty.
Nathan Buckley, will you come and get your medal, please? Nathan.
We now ask the Port Adelaide Football Club to do the traditional lap of honour.
Well, there you have it. Port Adelaide Football Club, the premiers for 1992, and you must admire Port Adelaide. They're a magnificent club, and you must feel for players like Greg Phillips too. In the twilight of his career as captain, it's a big honour for him today.
If we can pick up Greg Phillips, he's still around the podium, and he's getting all his kids onto the ground. He's got a lot of them too. He's got a bit of a family, and it might, 3 girls, it might indicate that this might be his last game here for Port Adelaide. The last time we see him, let's hope it's not, but if it is, what a magnificent way for that man to go out of football. And Port Adelaide, as I said, after half-time, Kim, the conditions were the same. Well, there's 4 kids there. They've obviously got a friend sleeping over for the night. But Port Adelaide just too tough in what I call equal conditions. I mean, the player that wanted the ball the most in these conditions gets it, and that's a trait of theirs. They're a very cohesive lot of players. They love each other, they love their club, they love their coach, and they're all very important elements. They mean as much as skill and balance in your selection.
Well, tremendous camaraderie with the Magpies. They just congratulated their cheer squad for being such great supporters over the year. A marvellous effort. Premiers for 1992 and for the 31st time Port Adelaide. One feels for Glenelg, but they were nowhere near good enough today.